YouTube, please try to share it on all the platforms the YouTube channel.
Say it clear. Say it right. Say our name. Built this nation with our bodies and brains. You benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. We FBAs, foundational black Americans. You want us to fight every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. Yeah. They wanna be us, from the style to the hair, from the lips to the hips, body shaped in our glare. They cross borders, profit off the fight, civil rights paid in blood just to stand in this light. Asia to Africa, you walk through the door, but this land got a history you can't ignore. FBI fought it, still fighting today, made room in the system that kept us away. You praise the same power that never chose you, turn your back on the ones that broke chains just to move you. Say we don't know where we come from, that's wild. North to the south, this land raised my child. Built this nation with our bodies and brains. You benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. Say our name, say our name, say our name. We FBA, foundation law, black American. You want us to fight every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. We were renowned, check the glow for proof. Streetwear in Japan still mirror our roots. K-pop chase the cadence, study how we move. Rapper world language, everybody fluent. From Atlanta blocks to Mumbai lanes, Hannah McCann spitting bars, connected to the flame. That ain't hate, that's impact, that's reach. Culture travel worldwide when the source run deep. They copy the look, they borrow the sound, but skip the respect when we still hold the crown. Love the rhythm, ignore the pain, celebrate the wave, don't say the name. This was home, before permission, before approval. Say our name. Built this nation with our bodies and brains. We benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. Say our name, say our name, say our name. We FBA, foundation law, black Americans. You want us to fight every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. Say our name, say our name, say our name. 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 Don't need your respect. Never needed permission. We built everything when we weren't even seen as human. Biting the hand that fed you. Surviving on scraps. FBA stopped begging. We learned to build from scratch. Learn to build from scratch. Learn to build from scratch. Y'all don't hear us. Pull up a seat and motherfucking listen. Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our grind, we outside on it. While y'all fools on the outside looking, y'all show no respect to Black America, so leave. Hey.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
You landed on the tarmac, fresh off the boat. Talking about y'all building nothing, man, you choking on the note. My ancestors the reason that this country even breathes. Picked the cotton, built the White House, planted the seed. Jim Crow laws, redlined the map, we was the target. You think that struggle's a costume, man, you can't mark it. We fought the wars, we bled the blood, we died for our future's chance. And you come here and give our legacy a side eye while throwing shade on the guard. While you benefit from doors we kicked down with our last breath. Now you spit on the architects who stared down death. Disrespectful, that's disrespectful, ungrateful, a slap in the face to only people who gave a fuck. So let me show your ungrateful ass to the right place.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our ground and we outside on it. While y'all fools on the outside looking, y'all show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on. Passport, the visa, the privilege to be here. Cause my grandma did march for y'all, so disappear from our land. You cosplaying our pain. Think it's a trend you can borrow, but you ain't inherit the ghosts of our sorrow. We the foundation, the bedrock, the soil, and the root. You not no branch on our tree, and unproductive people always cosplaying me.
Talking about we ain't do nothing, you lost your mind. We built this from nothing, time after time.
From the beginning to now, we been a backbone and muscle. Why you look down on the struggle and cause a whole tussle? That energy sky was disgusting, it's whack. So let's make it clear, there's no turning back.
This land is paid for in full.
In blood, sweat, and tears, and dreams deferred.
You don't get to come into a house we built from the dirt and telling Black America y'all ain't worth nothing. That's a violation, facts.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
It's our soil on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
Show respect, this our ground, y'all just tenants on a leash.
Or get the step.
Show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your business, I can just lay on.
Don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your business, I can just lay on.
Yeah, fly little birdies.
Fly on back to where you came from.
This ain't for you. The soil is sacred.
We said what we said.
It's time
for y'all to go home. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Far away from here. Bye bye little birds. They thought we forgot, but we never forget. one's for the rules. We built this land from dust and tears, 400 years, and we still here. They write new rules, but they don't see. Every freedom they got came off you and me. We planted seeds, they took the bloom. We lit the flame, they left the room. But we back now, know the skies. The spirits woke, we realize all we want is what we earn. That sweat and blood, yeah, that table turn. You can't buy culture, can't fake that fight. This is our day, this is our right. We LBA. Say it loud, say it strong. We the heartbeat that's been here all along. Foundation of Black Americans, stand tall. We ain't begging for nothing, we built that all. Born from pain and grace, you can see the truth written in our face. We the soul, the sound, to fight the flame. Foundational Black Americans, say our name. They love our rhythm, but they dodge our blues. Use our voice when it fits their news. They take our sound, but not our scars. We the backbone, we the stars. Now the veil is gone, the mask is clear. We see the game, we know what's here. No more silence, no more lies. We lift that flag and watch it rise. Rise up, rise up. We the ones that made this nation breathe. Our veins are power, our roots are trees. We know worlds. It's rhythm and grace now, and now we're reclaiming our rightful place. Can't copy courage, can't steal pain. You can't inherit soul by changing names. Our story ain't done, it's the revival. We guard the gate, it's about survival. We FBA, say it proud, say it loud. The world dances on what we vow. Foundational Black Americans. Still we stand, still we fight, still we demand. Every block, every song, we've been right here all along. The soul of a people strong and free. Foundational Black Americans. We the first, we the root, we the fire. Still rising, still here. Foundational Black American.
We set the tone and they copy the cadence. Dance to our drums and deny the foundation. Wear the style but don't honor the source. Smile in the crowd and you distance and force. Say you not us but you rap like we breathe. Take the rhythm, then fuse the receipts. I ain't mad, I'm just holding the glass. Showing the mirror, now answer it back. I ain't here to cancel nobody. Just keep it honest, keep it solid. If you eat from the table we built, don't act surprised when we guard it. Do you like that? Do you like that? When I flip your sound and I ride like that. Do you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Cause that's how it feel when you borrow my culture. Then act like we never mattered. Hip-hop.
Mike Larry. Now this shit here is what see it is. We're not fighting your battles. We're not carrying your fear. We're not lending our history to people who erased us while we were here. Just cause you're born here, don't make you FBA. That makes you a citizen, learn the difference today. This is lineage, not a look you can wear. Not a costume you borrow when it benefits you there. You used our culture like like an access card, backstage pass, a straight facade, but now the mirror's in your face. No disguise, and you're uncomfortable looking truth in the eyes. We didn't leave our land to beg for a chance. We stayed, we fought, we took every advance. That's the separation, that's the line you cross. We paid the price, you learned the cost. You waving your flag on our soil, but fighting not to go back home. Waving your flag on our soil, building comfort on a foundation you didn't own. We waving our flag, red, black, and gold. Stood our ground, never sold. You waving your flag on our soil, but scared to build what you claim you love. Our humor, our style, the way we move, the smoothness, the sound, the things we prove. Music we birth, language we shape, innovation forged under constant escape. Warrior spirit means stay and defend, not flee your land and rewrite the end. You call it success, but don't confuse the two. Ease came after what we went through. You abandoned your land and called it strategy. You waved that flag loud, but won't return to build your legacy. That contradiction tells the story for you. You waving your flag on our soil, we're fighting not to go back home. We waving ours where we were forged, every inch earned, every brick known. We can't be deported, and that truth changes everything. We can't be deported, and that truth changes everything. We know who we are, and now we see who you are too. Just because y'all born here doesn't make you FBA at all. It makes you an American citizen. It's biologically impossible to be us, because it's a lineage, not some damn costume you can just put on to look cool. You immigrants and immigrant Americans has used our culture as an access card, a backstage pass to our culture. Now y'all have to look in the mirror. Our sense of humor, the aesthetics, mannerisms, the style of dress, the smoothness, the creativity, our genres of music, innovativeness, our slang, our warrior spirit, by staying on our homeland and fighting and not fleeing to somebody else's land to beg for a better life and shit on the very people who fought to have us there. That's who we are. And we know who the hell y'all are, waving your flag on our soil and fighting to make sure y'all don't go back.
You can't leech off our culture anymore. Beat it!
Mike Larry, man, you did it again. We really making history. Let's go.
Do you like that? Do you like that?
Flip your sound, how you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Say it loud, don't walk it back. Do you like that?
Do you like that?
You grew up mimicking us, now y'all switch it up. Turn the carbon copies, y'all ain't black, what the fuck? It's funny y'all connecting to our culture like it's Wi-Fi. Surfing on our waves of our culture, no more agua. Still in my culture for all these years. Look how time flies, all these colonizers in disguise. Y'all hate, y'all still hate us outside. Study doctor, vampires, it's the blood of our guilt. They copy the flavor, sip the juice, love the results, hate the truth. Who? Do you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Flip your sound, how you like that? Do you like that? Democratic shields, talking points, the road they fill. Fish and chips, agent on the mic, judging FBAs, but ain't you half white? Talking like you one of us, we need a proof face. The agent type with a prune face, like 50 and Jim, it's a cold game. Throwing stones cause we built our own lane. I'm joking, kinda, but I mean smile calm, pressure intact. Y'all proud where y'all from, where they flag, beat they drum. But when it's us, tone switch fast. Same pride, but it's too much. FBA pride, lineage solid, you can't put this on, can't try it on. Built here, stayed and fought, that's the difference.
That's the car.
Do you like that? Do you like that? Say it clear, don't twist the facts. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you like that?
Point made. No edit. No care.
You know, erasing history is something that you have to do when it comes to conquest, domination, and destroying a people. If people knew who they were, what they were, and what they were capable of in the past, they will understand what they have a possibility or a likelihood of doing in the future.
Foundation of Black Americans, we've always had a culture of resistance. We cultivated a culture of resistance on this land, and we've been resisting ever since we've encountered European domination.
But nothing was really popping in Europe until the transatlantic slave trade, and that's where they amassed a lot of wealth.
One thing that I think is unique about our culture as far as how we resist, how we fight back is just the environment we were put in from day one. Being only 13% of the population, the white supremacists were very meticulous about keeping that population at a certain amount.
There was never a period when we did not resist the encroachment of the white man.
They have a natural behavior of authority no matter where they go. That's why they'll step up in front of us in the line at the store. We're not important. They don't even see us.
We've never been able to excel. We've never been able to relax. We've never been able to just be, which means that existence is resistance.
It must be something in our DNA, our historical background, to when something doesn't sit right with us, especially spiritually, in our souls and in our spirit, we just say no.
We live resistance. You know, from the moment we're born, we're in resistance. And it's handed down generation to generation.
And so I think that cultural resistance is actually in our DNA, in our epigenetics, and then it blossoms out into the culture.
So there's almost nothing in America that we do, from song to dance to politics to the way we talk, the way we dress, having coded languages considered to be slang today. Everything about Black American culture is a form of resistance.
Of course, they want to always downplay our contributions to the global tapestry because they continue to act like our number one export in this country is not Black innovation.
Everyone understands that our resistance has been the cornerstone of what foundational Black Americans have always done. We are the life that breathes everything into this nation.
The further back you go, the further Black you go. It's just simple like that, brother.
Introducing the B1 Rolodex, the easiest way to search for and support FBA and B1 businesses. Hundreds of entries from the Black grassroots for the Black grassroots. Free to use, free to download, constantly updated. Trouble navigating the document? Try using the map version. Notice a business missing? Use this simple Google form to submit an FBA or B1 business. Also submit anti-Black businesses, which are now being collected in that last tab. Find resources, contact numbers, and much more using the second tab. All the info you need to start practicing group economics today. Go to blacktruthunited.com. That's blacktruthunited.com.
All right, greetings, Black family, greetings, and thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Shabaka's Black Experience.
Family and fellow soldiers.
I'm your co-host, and I'm joined with the other co-host, Shabaka San Corey, and our other co-host, Lady Che. Greetings, Shabaka from the Mile High Income and Illegal Migrant Flooded City.
No,
and
greetings
on this, and we're joined with Michael as well. And on
Hi,
this,
Jesse.
Hi, Sabaka, Lady Che.
On the season 11, episode 46 of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with the Frontline Black News, we'll be discussing the Atlanta child murders. The Atlanta child murders refer to a howling and deeply impactful series of killings that terrorized the city of Atlanta, Georgia between July 1979 and May 1981. Over this 2-year period, at least 28 to 30 individuals, overwhelmingly young foundational Black American boys and young adults, along with a few girls and young adults, were targeted, abducted, and murdered. The tragedy exposed severe systematic vulnerabilities, deeply shook the local community, and fundamentally altered how law enforcement approaches serial crimes. Key elements of the crime, or the case rather, the victims, the vast majority of the victims were Black males from lower income neighborhoods, ranging in age from 7 to adulthood, though primarily children and adolescents. The youngest known victim was 14-year-old Edward Hope Smith and 13-year-old Alfred James Evans, discovered in July of 1979. The matter of death for most of the victims was determined to be asphyxiation or strangulation. And Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced is based on the 50th anniversary of the founding of the original Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. We started on Blog Talk Radio back in 2016 and have been around for 11 seasons now. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced covers the Black experience from the beginning of time until 10 minutes ago. It is also part of the Frontline campaign and has recently, within the last 2 to 3 years, moved from Blog Talk Radio to StreamYard. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the broadcast family. Remember, family, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Please join us on StreamYard, YouTube, Frontline Black News. The links to all of our channels are in the description, including Frontline Black News, Frontline Black News 2, my personal page, Jesse Paris, aka Che Nkrumah. We stream all the city council and community events. Local Lady Che's Seduction Doll 5991 channel, make sure y'all sub to that. The RBA, her main channel, make sure y'all sub to that. She just did an RBA earlier this morning, so make sure y'all check that out. Then we got Shabaka's YouTube channel, Jeanette1, make sure y'all sub to that so Shabaka can start going live. Then we got our cousin, our local out the Bay Area, Jay Militant, make sure y'all sub to his channel so he can get more subscribers. Then we got our main, our cousin here in Denver, Kukizi, make sure y'all sub to his channel as well. Kukizi 5100. He came up with the FBA Culture Reports, and he's a dope MC / rap artist out of Denver. Then we got another dope MC / rap artist, my brother from another mother, Breeze Omega, who's in VA, Virginia, by way of Hempstead, Long Island. Make sure y'all sub to his channel. He was live earlier as well. A lot of the prominent voices in the new Black media have gone live today, including ourselves. Then we got the Church of Black Power, our brother out of Watts, California, who's now in Houston, Texas. Make sure y'all sub to his channel as well. He shows us love, so we show him love back. And he was here with us last night as well. Then we got Torian Rain Reloaded, our brother out the DMV area, who's been around for a decade plus, and actually put Lisa Cabrera on. Make sure y'all sub to his channel as well. Then we got Black Alpha Network, who is just live right as well. Make sure y'all check him out. Afro Elite. And last but certainly not least, we got Black Truth United, and the link to his channel is in the description. He's the one that came up with the B1 Rolodex, which is a modern day green book for FBA and B1 businesses. And the link to submit your business to the Rolodex is in the description. The link to the Rolodex itself is in the description. And then we got our brother Church's Freedmen Reparations Party merch. Get your Freedmen Reparations Party merch at listed website frpmerch.com. Then we got Council of the Congressional Black Caucus and create a foundational Black American Caucus. The link to that is also in the description and long overdue. Then we got the slush fund that the Supreme Court put an end to, the anti-reparations fund. The link to that is in the description. Were you the target of politically motivated actions by NDOJ? Yes. Was the by NDOJ weaponized against you? Yes. If the answers to those questions are yes, then you could apply. You could have applied for the fund, as the Supreme Court didn't put a stop to it. Then we got take action now. Sister Brooks call to action. Make sure y'all submit those letters and them emails. It's about 4 days left of that campaign going on. So make sure y'all get that in so they can get that Freemansboro off the ground. Shout out to the U.S. Freedmen's Project. Then we got the FDAS Act, which is the Reparations for Descendants of American Slaves Act. Make sure y'all sign that change.org petition. Then we got Lady Chase GoFundMe. Make sure y'all donate to that if y'all haven't already. And then we got standing with our brother Joshua Hart, the veteran. I put hands and feet all over that white supremacist Chet the Bussy, Dalton Etherly, Chet the Builder. Make sure y'all donate to our brother Joshua Hart's GoFundMe. The link is in the description if you haven't already. Then we got Stop the docuseries, Stop Not Netflix from releasing the damaging docuseries about Michael Jackson. Shout out to Dr. Randy Short for putting that together. The link to that is also in the description. Then we got myself, as you can tell from the background. I am a candidate on the ballot for office here in the state of Colorado for House of Representatives for the House District 8 seat, which is a historically black seat. It has been up until recently. So let's get it back to that. And you can support my campaign by going to the website that is listed just for Colorado State House District 8. And then copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And I do not own the rights to the music. And if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, the only racism that exists, what it is and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you in all 9 or 10 areas of human or people activity. And that is economics, that is education, that is entertainment, that is labor, that is law, that is politics, that is religion, that is sex, and that is war. And some say health and nutrition. And all 9 or 10 areas of human and people activity. And that was by Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., who transitioned exactly a year ago at the age of 95, ProduceJustice.com. In other words, replace this global system of racism, white supremacy, this injustice system, with a system of justice, which guarantees that nobody's mistreated and those who need the most constructive help get it in a constructive manner. And this is the United Independent Compensatory Code concept for victims of racism and white supremacy, thought, speech, and action. For victims of racism and white supremacy, you can get that at ProduceJustice.com. And when you, a black person, are captured by any race soldier, you must never fuss, fight, or flee. Comply and defend yourself in court. Also by Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., ProduceJustice.com. And last but certainly not least, we got racism and white supremacy. Once again, this is the only racism that exists. It's conscious and subconscious behavior to maintain white genetic survival, to prevent white genetic annihilation. And that was by the late, great master teacher, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who transitioned exactly 10 years ago and would have been 90 as of 2 months ago. She transitioned at the age of 80. And shout out to our FBA brother, Tariq Nasheed, for paying for her funeral, along with several others. So those are the topics. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. All right, Shabaka and Michael, what are your thoughts on the Atlanta child murders?
Okay, greetings, ladies. Greetings.
Yeah, Shabaka could go first on that.
Okay, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced this evening, season 11, episode 46, in conjunction with Frontline Black News. The air date of this episode is June 9th, 2026. Atlanta child murders of 1981.
You done started Google up, Shabaka. What the hell? Google said, welcome to Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
Man, see, this is what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This AI shit. Okay, excuse me. Okay.
Go ahead,
all right. The Atlanta child murders of 1979-1981, sometimes called the Atlanta child murders, are a series of murders committed in Atlanta, Georgia. I remember it very well. I was about 22 years old.
Hey, Mac. Welcome back.
in the United States between July 1979 and May of 1981. Over a 2-year period, at least 28 Black children, adolescents, and adults were killed.
Yeah, I
Wayne
already read
Williams, an Atlanta native who was 23 years old at the time of the last murder, was arrested, tried, and convicted of only 2 of the murders and sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms. Okay?
Yeah.
Police subsequently have attributed a number of the
We
child
got
murders.
Snobby in the building. Salute, Goddess Snobby.
Okay. Attributed these Williams, although he has not been charged in any of those cases, and Williams himself maintains his innocence, notwithstanding the fact that the specific style and manner of the killings, which Brother Che just stated, which was chokehold strangulation, ceased after his arrest. God damn, man, it's shit. Okay. In March of 2019, the Atlanta police, under the order of Mayor of the time, Keisha Lance Bottoms, reopened the cases in hopes that new technology would lead to a conviction for the murders that were never resolved. Repeat, the murders were never resolved.
Damn.
As of November 2025, no results have been made public. Okay. Timeline of murders. 1979. In the middle of 1979, Edward Teddy Smith, 14, and Alfred Q. Evans, 13, disappeared 4 days apart. Their bodies were found on July 28th in a wooded area. Smith with a .22 caliber gunshot wound in his upper back. They were believed to be the first victims of the putative Atlanta child killer. On September 4th, the next victim, 14-year-old Milton Harvey, disappeared while on an errand to the bank for his mother. He was riding a bike that was found a week later in a remote area of Atlanta. His body was not recovered until November of that year. On October.
Governor. Oh, she won? She won, Sister Val? I know she was running, but I didn't know she won. She won? So she's the governor now?
Then she needs to reopen the goddamn case, okay? She has that power to do that as the governor, okay? On October 21st, 9-year-old Yusef Bell went to the store to buy Bruton snuff for a neighbor. Eula Birdsong at Reese Grocery on McDaniel Street. A witness says she saw him near the intersection of McDaniel and Fulton getting into a blue car before he disappeared. His body was found on November 8th in an abandoned E.P. Johnson Elementary School by a school janitor who was looking for a place to urinate. He was found clothed in the brown cut-off shorts.
She's not the governor yet. It would be on Brian Kemp's punk ass to reopen it.
Okay. He was last seen wearing, though they had a piece of masking tape.
Yeah, she's campaigning for it. Yeah, that's going on right now. So she's running for his seat, but she hasn't won it yet.
Okay. Now, they were saying here in regard to this young man, he had been hit over the head twice, and the cause of death was strangulation. Police did not immediately link his disappearance to the previous killings. 1980. On March 4th, 1980, the first female victim, 12-year-old Angel Lanier, disappeared. She left her house around 4 p.m. wearing a denim outfit and was last seen at a friend's house watching the sitcom.
Alexa's not till November, Sister Val. I just looked it up. Her election's not till November. So if she wins in November, then she won. But she's currently campaigning for a seat, but she hasn't won it yet. I just looked it up.
Yeah, she won the primary for the governor's race, but the election until November of this year.
Yeah, she won the primary, but yeah, the actual general election ain't till November. Okay, so you was probably talking about the primary.
Yeah, I think he was probably talking about the primary race.
She is Sister Val. It's a she.
Val, I'm sorry, Val, Sister Val, yes.
Yeah, wasn't up her term up in 2027. You mean her mayoral term? Because she was the mayor before that. She was the mayor of Atlanta.
Yeah.
They might have a chance in Georgia with her mic.
Yeah, she's about reparations.
Like she said, I'm sorry after she won. No, I had looked it up. I'm like, that's kind of premature because she's running for governor. That election would be in November.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope Tamara Sealy puts pressure on Keisha Lance Bottoms to do reparations.
Yeah, that's the least she could do. So I got some clips lined up, y'all, in regards to this subject. So I'm gonna play some of them now.
Yeah, oh, sir. Yeah, just sorry I couldn't comment on the 1971 murders because I haven't read about it. So that's why I let Sabaka go first.
Yeah, it's all good, Michael.
Okay.
The murder started in 1979, Michael. And Maynard
79.
Jackson, and Maynard Jackson was the mayor of Atlanta at that time. And I got a lot of information that I just pulled up here on it. But the point
Atlanta,
is, of what I'm getting at, that bastard Ronald Reagan was sworn in as the president of the United States in 1981. So keep that in mind.
An area where in the
Okay,
past
please
20
continue
months,
with the presentation.
21 black children have been reported missing. 19 of them have been found dead.
Fair use.
City and police officials are stymied, and they admit they can do little to stop the killing.
Fair use.
The problems are not made easier by the fact that many of the victims were children who spent much of their time unsupervised and on the streets.
This type person or child would be more apt.
Now listen to this bullshit. Okay. The administrators of Atlanta said that they couldn't stop it. So what the parents started doing was escorting their kids to school with weapons on.
Poor neighborhoods in Atlanta have names like Mechanicsville and Reynoldstown and Eastlake Meadows. The people here don't get any answers from the city. They are frightened and they are angry.
The people who know the people in the city are not being used on the task force. And until that's rectified,
that's
they
she was
cannot
the mayor.
possibly run the best investigation they can run. The FBI men are
She was the
probably
mayor of
wonderful,
Atlanta.
great people, probably write their mother twice a week, but they don't know beans about Atlanta.
Why has it taken so long to bring these killings to an end? What is the effect on the city and on its people? These black children, missing and murdered, are the agony of Atlanta.
This is a CBS News special report.
I remember that photo.
The agony of Atlanta. Here is CBS News correspondent Dan Rather.
Good evening. Mass murder is not a new phenomenon. 33 young men were murdered by one man in Chicago a few years ago. 26 were killed in a Texas crime, 25 in California. New York's Son of Sam was convicted of taking 6 lives before he was caught. Where the population is in the millions, it is easy for murderers to remain anonymous and to disappear without trace. That's where Atlanta is tonight, and has been for 20 agonizing months. Atlanta is the hub of the New South. Its airport is the largest. Its skyline is broken by more new office towers every year. 20,000 conventioneers fill its shiny new hotels every week. Its population booms, already approaching 2 million in the metropolitan area, 500,000 in the city itself. But these days, Atlanta is not counting its blessings. It is counting its dead children. And the count has reached 19. Sam Ford tells us how it got to that.
The funerals,
For a year and a half now, they have gone on, Black Atlanta burying its murdered children one by one. 19 funerals so far. It all started here 2 years ago. On July 28th, a woman was walking along this wooded road looking for aluminum cans to turn in for money when she approached this embankment. People often dump things from passing cars here. At the bottom, she saw a body, which had also presumably been dumped from a car the previous night. It was 14-year-old Edward Smith. He had left home 8 days earlier to go to a skating rink. He had been shot to death. Nearby lay the body of his friend, 13-year-old Alfred Evans. He had disappeared on his way to the movies 3 days earlier. Police were unable to say how he was killed. But the double murders went largely unnoticed in the Atlanta newspapers. The city was in the grip of a crime wave that threatened to make it a murder capital. The police department was undermanned and demoralized by years of bitter struggle over its racial makeup, and the murder rate was up 60% over the year before. It was the murder of an Ohio doctor, Mark Kettleman, in town for a convention, and the killing of a white secretary on a crowded downtown sidewalk at lunchtime that caught the headlines. No one recognized a child murder problem. But in November, 2 more bodies were found. 14-year-old Milton Harvey was found on the 5th, police unable to say how he died, and 3 days later, 9-year-old Yusef Bell. He had been strangled. 1980 came and children continued to disappear and die. All were Black and all were poor. Having no money, most earned it by their wits in the streets, and they made easy targets of themselves. Several disappeared from shopping centers, which they frequented in hopes of picking up some change by helping people with their bags. Not all, but most were street kids from single parent or broken homes. All but 2 were boys, ages range from 7 to 16. By July 1980, with 10 children missing or murdered, anguished parents had had enough. Led by Camille Bell, a 60s Black activist whose own son, Yusef, had been killed, they demanded that police mount a special investigation. And when police refused, they called a news conference to blast the Black Control Police Department as uncaring. 2 weeks later, the police set up the special task force to investigate the child homicides.
Now, we have a concern because it is unusual for us to have that large number of cases in the short period of time. So we have to operate on a working assumption that there very well may be some connection.
But a year had been lost on the investigation, and the police had developed a stigma of incompetence they have yet to live down. Atlanta is a city that has long enjoyed good race relations. City leaders, realizing the potential for racial violence growing, decided to attack the child murder problem with community spirit. Blacks and whites joined in what has become a weekly search for clues by volunteers, easing Black suspicions that whites did not care because their children were not being killed.
I have a son myself, and I would hope that other people would join in to help find my son if he was missing.
Shut your
That's why I'm at it.
motherfucking hillbilly Nabisco ass up, motherfucker. You was probably in.
In search of clues. New Jersey psychic Dorothy Allison arrived with great fanfare and at police expense, promising she would find the killer. Mayor Jackson called a news conference in the First National Bank, displaying $100,000, the reward for capturing the killer or killers. But in November, it happened. Year-old Aaron Jackson to the public why he hadn't watched his son more closely, more than a year after the murders began.
How in the name of heaven you gonna know where your children are at all times? You have to leave them to go to work 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. You know where your children are supposed to be at.
There was a time when I could have said, well, hey, I know the Atlanta Police Department will be able to find them. And man, we got the GBI and the FBI. We ought to be able to find anybody. But I've gotten to the place that I don't have that much confidence in them anymore.
And it has continued. They have died in many ways, shot, stabbed, bludgeoned. But most all of the recent ones have been strangled or asphyxiated. In some cases, the bodies were laid out in full view, on their backs with arms and legs extended. Others have been thrown down an embankment, into a river, under a building. There are things that suggest drugs, sexual deviation, or cult ritual. There are many theories, but nobody is in jail.
To understand the effect on this city, it is important to understand the neighborhoods where many of the victims were born and lived. That story in a moment. The urban sprawl that is Atlanta is spread over 5 counties. It is crisscrossed by superhighways, open up all areas of the city to quick and easy access by a commuter or by someone bent on murder. The dead children, dumped where they were found, lay scattered over a wide area, often far from their homes. Ed Bradley takes a look at Atlanta and the places where the victims lived.
Atlanta has long been a magnet for blacks. Years ago, it attracted people from rural areas throughout the South and established itself as a center for upwardly mobile blacks. Predominantly black colleges and universities have been here for more than 100 years. Black businesses and professionals have long been part of the fabric of life in Atlanta. When the civil rights movement met overt, bitter opposition throughout most of the South, it was different here. There was opposition to change, of course, but here there were no fire hoses or attacks by police dogs. Atlanta was a city that called itself too busy to hate. And today, it's a city that is still changing, still growing. A black man is the mayor here. Another heads the police. More are on the city council and the school board. Black professionals have moved into middle management positions in some of those office towers. The University Center is still growing, still turning out black college graduates. And there are new prosperous black enclaves in addition to well-kept middle-class black neighborhoods that have been part of Atlanta for years. But you can't really see all of that from here, the Techwood Homes area. And it could also be Mechanicsville or East Lake Meadow, neighborhoods that were home to some of the murdered children. For most of them, and for most of the people who live here, downtown Atlanta is a world away. Here, there's no significant new construction, no office towers. Some neighborhoods don't even have a supermarket. Along these streets, you find vacant lots and substandard housing, poverty and apathy, and many people who see no way out. Many of the children in these neighborhoods have been called hustlers, and that shouldn't be taken in a negative sense. Only a handful of the murdered kids had what's been called minor brushes with the law. Those kids and others still alive
Hey, Cal
found ways
Dog.
to hustle a dollar, running errands, carrying
Hi, Cal
groceries,
Dog.
doing odd jobs. In other, they might be called kids with get up and go. But around here, there's no place to go for most. These poverty-line streets are like barriers to that downtown world and the rest of Atlanta. The apathy, parental neglect, poor education, and social burden they house produce a life that is difficult for most of us to imagine. And on top of all of that, each day, they still have to live these streets. Each day, they still have to survive and wonder who will be next.
That question, who will be next, has changed the way of life for countless Atlanta children. Each one now has to live with the frightening knowledge that he or she could be the answer. There are still kids, mind you, who carry on in the old ways. Too many of them. Sam Ford paid a visit to one who no longer does.
He's 12 years old and lives with his 26-year-old mother, a single parent on welfare.
Yes, Val. Yeah, that is Ed Bradley. He passed away. He used to host 60 Minutes as well.
Like many of the boys who died, Tony used to go to the shopping centers and carry groceries for people for tips. It was good money.
Last time I came home with $20.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it?
The other boy came home with 23.
But that's all in the past. As Tony says, they're snatching too many children now, including some of his friends.
When he seen it on television, he said, "I know that little boy." I said, "Yeah." So we used to go to school together. I said, "Yeah." And he used to tell me they go through the paths together and kill the snake together. You know, they was friends.
Tony practices his basketball shots with a garbage can. He doesn't have a basketball goal at home, and it's too dangerous to go to the public courts anymore. He has lost a great deal of his freedom, and like many Atlanta children, is wondering, why us?
So I don't know why they pick at them. They should pick another country or city. Yeah.
Throughout Atlanta, there have been reports of children so terrified they have begun wetting the bed again or are afraid to sleep by themselves. Some middle-class black parents have sent their children to relatives in other cities, even though no middle-class kids have been murdered. But Tony's mother knows that her son's survival may depend on whether he remembers her rule. When on the way home from school, don't stop for anybody.
I be scared every day when he go to school. And I tell him each and every day the same thing over and over and over, but he listened to me. And I just hope they don't get Tony.
You worry about that sometime?
Sometime.
But you're determined that they won't, right?
I don't know. They maybe will, and maybe not.
The police investigation so far has been unsuccessful and riddled with problems. Some are external, the kind that are normal when there's trouble in a poor black Southern community. Some are internal. They exist inside the several police departments involved, and, say the parents of the victims, they are the problems that keep the murderer or murderers from being caught. That part of the story after this pause.
First place.
$400 million a year. And so after that June weekend mentioned earlier, when Dr. Mark Tettleman was killed, the city, to protect its reputation and business, launched a massive campaign for street safety. Part of that effort was the construction of these police boxes. They were to be manned 24 hours a day, or at least during statistically determined high crime hours. The idea was to keep maximum visible police presence on the streets. What distressed the people of Zone 5, and especially parents of the missing children, was that the street safety program was aimed at the area of the Convention-Air, the already relatively safe, certainly prosperous downtown area. To blacks in Zone 5, the boxes became yet another sign that the city cared more about business than it did about child killers.
Exactly.
What they also affected people was that the boxes did not then, nor do they now, have much effect on anything. Because, as you can see, these police boxes are unmanned and locked. Just another empty effort, as the people in Zone 5 see it, like so many others made by the city and the Atlanta Police Department. Is that criticism valid? Bruce Hall examines that question.
After months of work, an investigator says the Special Task Force has made virtually no progress. They do not even know if the killer is black or white, male or female, acting alone or part of a group. Not only do they know little about the killer or killers, some of the 39 police agencies in the 5-county metropolitan area are feuding bitterly among themselves and withholding information when it is developed. Sources say the Special Task Force has been hurt by petty jealousies, poor communications, and inexperienced investigators who have mishandled critical evidence. The infighting became so fierce, Atlanta Public Safety Director Lee Brown was forced to call at least 2 closed-door summit meetings with agency heads after investigators said they were stumbling all over each other. However, the friction continues. W.K. Perry, former chief of the Atlanta Homicide Department and now head of a group of officers investigating the case, says the task force bungled it.
Yes, we furnish them with numerous leads. From our sources, we would check back in a couple of weeks and find that some of these leads were not pursued by the task force.
The police on the beat don't know enough about what even what cars they're looking for. They could pass through all day long and they'd never see them.
The officials are not telling them enough about
Oh, heavens no. The best kept secret in the world in Atlanta is what is the task force doing?
We obviously do many things which we can't talk about because it would be counterproductive. We made a policy decision some time ago that there's information about what we know, their activities we are engaged in, that if we talked about it, it would be counterproductive.
However, a highly placed source who is knowledgeable about the investigation says nothing is being released because they still have no information on the identity of the killer. And some of the investigative techniques are controversial, like the use of children as decoys. Officers watch from nearby unmarked vehicles as decoys, youngsters ranging from 12 to 16 years old, are sent to shopping centers where it is believed that the killer has been picking up kids. Another thing that is causing controversy among policemen, some officers have been told to watch each other because there is a suspicion that the killer may be a policeman or former officer. Roadblocks are becoming frequent occurrences in black neighborhoods. Officials hope they will discourage the killer from roaming through the areas. What is not generally known is that key suspects have been developed in at least 4 and possibly 6 cases, but most of these are family related, and officers do not believe they are connected with the main group of murders. Officials say no indictments are being sought against these suspects now, because that could take away from the overall investigation. The state crime lab found identical cloth fibers on or near 6 of the bodies, thus providing the first solid evidence some of the cases are linked. But while the cases may be linked, the investigative agencies involved freely admit they have no suspects, and it may take more than hard work to solve the case.
We're going to have to be a little lucky as we go along with this. We're doing hard work. We're trying to make our breaks, but certainly we need a break and need a little luck.
In an attempt to find out how difficult it would be to abduct a black youngster from the neighborhoods where the murders have taken place, plainclothes policemen in unmarked cars were sent into the areas. When they saw a youngster, the officer would yell, "Want to make $10?" The police were shocked with the results. Every youngster approached got into the car.
So there has been plenty of criticism for Atlanta police. But the circle of criticism also includes community leadership as well as law enforcement. Pam Olson tells us about that.
There are billboards reminding people they can be paid for information leading to the capture of the killer or killers. Despite the reward, there has been little response.
They're saying to me, we need money to run an investigation. I basically wonder whether some of the money that's being used to keep the image of the city from being tarnished couldn't be used to run an investigation.
There are other problems. Criticism is beginning to come from inside the Black community. Criticism of the city's Black leadership.
People talk about people profiteering off of the tragedy, but I see political careers being built and broken on the coffins of these children.
And there is more. Atlanta youth worker Corrine Brown believes the more prosperous, more prominent Blacks in Atlanta could have done more.
I haven't heard from our Black leaders. I have not. They've been mighty silent during this whole thing. We've got something here now that has been running over a year.
Until recently, and some say because of the pressure, the more nationally known Black leaders of Atlanta have been silent. It has taken Coretta King 19 months to speak out locally on the killings. Last week, at a press conference, she announced a march and demonstration. She did not appear at this rather small street event last weekend. Then Andy Young. 19 months after the first bodies were found, he came to the defense of the city's Black establishment.
Everybody's working together to try to put an end to these crimes. I do think, though, that you really won't catch the killer by putting the police on trial.
More and more people across the country have jumped on the bandwagon. Baltimore, a memorial mass raised money for the investigation. North Carolina, floral wreaths honor the memories of the children. Missouri, university students raised money for the victims' families. Tennessee, 2,000 attended a rally. Pennsylvania, a grandmother started passing out green ribbons. And in Rhode Island, a basketball team wears them. Here in Atlanta, vigilante groups scout popular places looking for violators of the city's new curfew. Fraternities distribute blue ribbons.
Hey, Jesse, I'll catch you later. Got to have a work this morning. Got work early in the morning next day.
Word from Camille Bell.
Michael, thank you for
Too
joining
little,
us.
too
Yep.
late.
The people of Atlanta, both Black and
Good
white,
night.
are being forced to recognize some very unpleasant things about their community and about themselves. More on that in a moment. The long, wrenching experience of Atlanta's child killings is forcing back into the open long festering problems many people didn't want to face. John Sheehan looks at the possible consequences.
Okay, let me just throw out something at you for you to think about for a minute. That remember that it's Black kids like you, the one that's being killed.
Black children in Atlanta get classes in how to avoid being murdered, but no one, not even their parents, can teach them how to deal with fear.
You know, they don't know who to trust, you know, so they say things like, you know, well, where do we go? You know, I said, well, like, you know, if it's near a store, just run in the store, you know. No policemen, nobody, you know, don't go to nobody, just run, you know. And not walk too close to the curves, man, because, you know, I don't know what to say to them, really, you know. I'm just writing myself.
I always carry a knife in my pocketbook all the time. Like when I finna get ready to walk on my way home, I put it up my sleeve just in case.
Sociologist Craigs Beverly sees Black Atlantans being crippled by fear.
Welcome back,
I don't think we have even begun to see. We have seen
only the surface.
Yeah, you're playing that bullshit with me again, man, because these motherfuckers don't like the subject
Also,
matter.
I think you're going to have a lot of people who are going to need people to talk to, places to go, to just kind of work through their own sense of frustrations, their own sense of impotency.
Whites have joined the weekly search parties looking for clues and contributed money for a reward. But while whites have responded
they wouldn't.
sympathetically to
Whites
a local
wouldn't.
Atlanta
Blues, they're
problem,
covering their
Atlanta
goddamn
blacks are
tracks.
feeling more isolated, feeling overwhelmed by a nationwide lack of concern about blacks. The murders have reopened many wounds.
These victims are the dead children, but millions of young blacks who are not missing, who have not been murdered, are being slaughtered psychologically, emotionally, educationally. And there seems to be no intense concern for them.
And in the wake of the killings, the community is hearing about things children do not tell their parents. That being approached by strangers and getting into a car is a common event in the lives of poor black children. Sometimes it's the way to the day's meal or a little money. Columbus Ward, himself a former street kid, now director of a youth center, knows only too well about the grown-ups who prey upon desperately poor children.
They seem to come into the low-income area where they know that there are a lot of street kids. They know that kids is in need of a lot of service and help. If in a way they think they can provide some of those needs to those kids for their own benefit, then they will approach a kid for that service. You know, is it for sex, is it for
And
favors
keep
or
in
whatever?
mind, this is the pre-crack era too, people.
Will concentrate on the low-income area because they chance of convincing a kid to get in the car with them is very good.
Blacks are coming to perceive the vulnerability of their children as being a direct result of deplorable inner-city living conditions. Nearly 1 out of 5 black men out of work. Men of broken spirit who leave the families they cannot support. Mothers who have to become the breadwinner in the debasing atmosphere of the public housing projects.
Almost any housing project in American society could be converted into a maximum security prison in 5 minutes. Public housing.
Exactly. That's why the fuck they call projects, Cap.
The folk who live there, they are defined by American society as being less than human.
For a moment, Atlanta's missing and murdered children united the black and white communities in sorrow. But it seems they have already begun to separate again.
Okay, I keep fading in and out.
The tragedy is
This video
that
was
I
made
feel
back in
that
1981.
when and if the murder,
Yeah, I know,
because
because I've seen it.
that the status quo
And you will see here,
be
people,
maintained.
instead of these black political figures, black police officers are forming a goddamn militia of going out here finding this shit. These motherfuckers are sitting up there like this
concern
nigga,
in the black community is that once the
allowing
murderer
themselves
or
to be
murderers
pacified.
are caught, that things in Atlanta will return to the status quo. What's your reaction to that?
It's possible, but not likely. Possible because we have seen precedent. The riots in the 60s, everybody responded, coming forward. What can we do? What more can we do now? We don't want the riots. We now see we've been making mistakes. Society has been inadequately responsive. Riots died down. The response died down, and the concern apparently died down too. That could happen here, but it's not going to happen here. We'll never be the same city again. We'll be a stronger city because of this awful tragedy, because of the lesson we'll learn from it. We have seen an underside of Atlanta that is a part of the underside of America, more tightly focused than ever before, of kids who have to hustle in the streets, not beg, but hustle for jobs, the great American dream, to make it, and families that are so desperately poor, so much involved, so working, they're not able sometimes to be as attentive to each other as they might want to be.
What about the criticism that the city and the police department have not done enough, particularly that they didn't do enough soon enough?
We have made a policy decision, though, Mr. Rather. We decided that we were going to run the risk of some criticism rather than compromise the investigation. We are doing 1,000 times more than we are willing to say, 1,000 times more than we're prepared to say, and we would rather run the risk of the criticism than to leak something or have something come out which might assist the killer or killers.
Now, with him
might harm
sitting
the
up here
case.
talking this
We,
bullshit,
are
man, with
hoping
this
that all
reporter, his
follow
ass
the
was
guidelines.
supposed to be down there in
Thank
the
you.
mayor's office, man, with a 24/7 task force,
It is standard
getting to the
practice
bottom
in
of
this
this
kind
shit.
of broadcast to try and write a
See.
thoughtful close, to make an effort at summation or special perspective. But in this case, this time,
And yes, that's the
in the agony of Atlanta,
same Dan Rather
it
that
is our
got his
feeling that
ass
any
whooped
effort
in
at
Chicago in
summation should be made by
1968.
people who have lived with the
Yeah,
story for a long time.
Man.
For that reason, we close with final thoughts by Dr. Charles King and Mayor Jackson.
We hand our children to society without the proper kind of undergirding, economically or educational, that would give them a chance in life. This, my friend, is murder.
Yeah.
Before they die. We slay them before they have a chance.
Mm.
And if you really want to know who the real killers are, it's not just the one or two people that we're searching for. The real killers are the whites who condone it, black politicians who don't give a damn anymore about what happens to black people because they're fighting each other.
Right.
To
That's
get in
the
office.
point I'm making.
And even if they wanted to do something about it, and even if they are still sensitive to the problems of black people, they are powerless to change the situations that white institutions initially set into motion that created ghetto conditions. It's almost like cast in concrete. So if you really want to know who the real killers are, it's not just the one or two people we're talking about. The real killers are us.
That as Boston has
Oh, god
Buffalo,
damn, boy. When is that goddamn
Chicago,
house
Los
niggering
Angeles,
syndrome
San
gonna
Francisco,
end? That
and
shit is
many
pissing
others.
me the fuck off.
And now Atlanta. It could happen anywhere. We pray to God it never will. But we're praying it will happen.
And you mean to tell me that you motherfuckers got all them police officers down there, you got all them black folks in the South, and you should have had a goddamn task force out there on your own fucking accord and getting to the bottom of this shit.
Yeah. But they didn't, Shabaka.
I know, because they've been pacified. They've been pacified.
Under all black Democratic leadership.
Right, that's what I'm saying, brother Che. Ain't these motherfuckers what you would call the tethers?
Some of them probably was tethers. Now looking back, but yeah,
You see, and keep in mind, okay, exactly, Cal Dog. You know, they part of that plantation slave-minded system, as opposed to this motherfucker saying right here, hey, guess what, black police chief? Hey, guess what, head of city workers departments, plumbing, heating, street maintenance, water sources and all that. Hey, we're going out there hiring some additional brothers, to protect these children and patrol them goddamn streets. You see what I'm saying? But no, they didn't do that. Now, ask yourself this question. Ask yourself this question, and this is the key thing that I wanted to bring up on here. And you're right, Cal Dog, they are part of the system. Now, the system I'm talking about is still the slave house nigga mentality. Well, you got a lot of white folks down there in Atlanta, and I forgot who the fuck the governor was at that time. It wasn't Lester Maddox. Okay. But the point is, okay, you see Atlanta growing at this time. It's becoming an economical black powerhouse. And what are children? The future.
Yeah.
The children are the future. So it's not so much.
In the late 1970s and early 80s, a string of murders terrorized the city of Atlanta, Georgia. Young black children were the targets, and the killers seemed to be hunting them specifically. The police couldn't catch them.
Go ahead, Shabaka.
Okay. And they was killing the future of it now. Now, when I finally visited Atlanta, Georgia a few years ago, homelessness was real high.
Yeah.
Black folk. Then that alternative lifestyle was an all-time high. Now, people, couldn't it have been that these children were taken for experimentation, okay? like what they were doing with the frogs for extermination.
Yeah, it could have been all
You
that.
got the Center of Disease Control. Yeah. You got the Centers of Disease Control down there, right?
It was George
Plus, you got
Bugsby.
major unit.
It was George Bugsby. The governor of Georgia at that time was George Bugsby.
Okay. That's the first time I heard the motherfucker's name. How come he wasn't out there on the damn case? You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
It was
How
a
come the
Democrat.
goddamn George? Yeah, a Democrat. Okay, see there, a fucking Democrat. Now, how come the goddamn Department of Georgia Bureau of Investigation wasn't out there? You see what I'm saying? At that time when it first started.
Yeah.
Touchdown, Cal Dog. That is exactly what I am leading up to.
Yep.
Organ harvest.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. And plus that, Brother Che, and what's the price of melanin now?
$675 a gram.
And then could it be that these motherfuckers was doing this here to these children? You see what I'm saying? Because they saw the spark going up, or they had preliminary information that this here could drive up the price of the melanin?
Yeah.
You got the Center of Disease Control down there in Atlanta, right? Okay. And then the majority of the population of Atlanta is black, right?
Yeah.
I went through Georgia. I went through Augusta, GA, and Atlanta. Now, once again, I heard these same screams of these poor children being tortured and murdered, violated. I heard the mamas crying. I heard the daddies crying, feeling bad. How did I let my child get killed? And then I distinctively remember the parents had finally got upset and said, fuck this shit. We're going out on the goddamn street with some guns protecting our children.
Yeah.
And what happens? Yeah. Experimental hub. Yeah, there you go. Of course, Val, that's
Killer,
exactly
and the
what it
public
is, and
was starting to
particularly with the
panic.
girls.
Finally, after a long investigation, they caught a suspect, but there still are unanswered questions. Welcome to True Crime Recaps. It's great to have you here. I'm Chris. The Atlanta child murders were a difficult and dark time in the city's history, a chapter that, while some say has been closed, others believe it's not over. It was a time when a serial killer roamed the streets, picking off children at any time of the day. Kids just going about their daily lives, running errands for their parents or playing with their friends. It started in the summer of 1979. The first to be found were Edward Smith and Alfred Evans, both 14. They disappeared 4 days apart, but they were both found on the same day, lying in a field less than 200 yards from each other. Edward was shot in the back. His socks were gone. Alfred was strangled to death, maybe with the belt he was wearing that wasn't his. You might have thought the murders were just terrible tragedies, a one-off horror show that couldn't be repeated anytime soon, but you'd be wrong. The third victim was 14-year-old Milton Harvey. When he disappeared in early September, the community started to whisper about a killer in their midst. He hopped on his yellow 10-speed bike and set off for the bank with a $100 check in his pocket. His mom needed him to pay a credit bill for her, and the Citizens and Southern Bank was only 3 miles away. The last time he was seen was around 10:30 in the morning. After that, he was gone. Milton liked karate movies and wrestling, but his own moves weren't enough to fight off his attacker. His bike was found a week later. He showed up again in November. A man collecting cans found his remains in an empty lot not all that far away. They noticed he was missing his shoes and socks. A month later, on an October Sunday afternoon, 9-year-old Yusef Bell ran down to the Reese grocery on the corner to pick up something for their neighbor. He never came home. The last time anyone saw him alive, he was getting into a blue car near a playground. Less than 3 weeks later, his little body was found stuffed in a crawl space in an abandoned elementary school. Somebody had hit him over the head a couple of times before strangling him to death. A few months went by, Christmas came and went, so did New Year's and Valentine's Day. Parents started to relax a little bit. Maybe it was over. It wasn't. The killing didn't stop until 1981 was almost halfway over. Kids would go missing only to turn up murdered. usually asphyxiated or strangled. Some were stabbed or hit over the head with something. One was as young as 6. Most were 9, 10, 12, 14, and 15. A few were much older, in their mid to late 20s. 28 bodies in total, almost all boys, 2 girls, all of them black. By April 1980, there was no mistaking it. Someone was taking their kids. Reports of a strange black man handing out flyers and chatting up the local kids circulated. Others remembered a white man cruising around, going way too slow not to be looking for something or someone. But no one knew for sure who the boogeyman could be. Not enough to warn their kids. But they weren't going to just sit there and wait for their own children to disappear. Camille Bell used
that. Okay. With Wayne Williams, okay, he was trying to promote his own local radio station, Free Blog Talk, okay? So he was out there handing out the flyers of his radio station, of what he was trying to do. You see what I'm saying? So let's keep that in. Exactly, Val, that's my point, Mal. Exactly. It was too many for one man. You see what I'm saying? It was too many of them. These children and these young people were grabbed by a systematic, organized effort. And can't no motherfucker tell me different.
Right.
This is why I brought it up.
Okay.
You know why, black people? Because you got the same shit getting ready to hit you again.
Yeah.
See, that's why I brought it up. Oh, and then not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, Atlanta, Georgia is where Muhammad Ali beat the shit out of Jerry Quarry when he resumed his boxing career.
Yep, sure did. All right, let me get back to the video, Shabaki. Thank you for that history, though.
Yes, sir.
Joseph's mother put together the Committee to Stop Children's Murders. They didn't know if they could catch the killer, but they were damn sure going to try. The FBI didn't seem to think there was a case there, but the community did. They saw a pattern emerging. Roughly the same ages, same backgrounds, same neighborhoods. Some of the kids even knew each other. It couldn't be a coincidence. And then it stopped. They hoped.
Right.
A few months went by with every kid accounted for. Maybe the murder frenzy had been enough to satiate the child killer, but it wasn't. By June, he was hungry again. Coincidentally, so was 12-year-old Chris Richardson. He went down to the Crystal to get a burger on his way to the local pool for a swim. When they found him 6 months later, he was wearing some other kid's swim trunks. Less than 2 weeks later, 6-year-old LaTanya Wilson was taken right out of her bedroom early in the morning. She missed her 7th birthday by 1 day.
No.
It was October before they found her body. The day after LaTanya was taken, 10-year-old Aaron Weish got into a strange blue car outside a grocery store with a black man, according to witnesses. Some say they saw him at the mall later that night around 6, but the last place he was seen was under a bridge with a broken neck and signs of asphyxiation the next day. The latest killing spree showed no signs of stopping. In early July, 9-year-old Anthony Carter was playing hide and seek with his cousin when he was taken. The next day, he was found in an abandoned warehouse with stab wounds. And on and on and on it went like that. There were so many kids dead, the Atlanta PD formed a task force to stop it. But the body count kept adding up. When 9-year-old Aaron Jackson was taken from a shopping center in early November 1980, a little less than a month after yet another little boy's body was found, the Attorney General ordered the FBI to step in and help stop the killings once and for all. 8 days after they carried Aaron to the morgue, 15-year-old Patrick Rogers went missing. One neighbor remembered him talking about a man he met who wanted to record his music. Almost a month after he disappeared, his body was found near a bridge. Wayne Bertram Williams was 23 years old, a native of Atlanta and the son of 2 teachers. While his parents were thought to be good people, Wayne had the reputation of being a liar. He made himself the center of fantastical stories that everyone found hard to believe. He fancied himself a freelance photojournalist and a self-proclaimed talent scout. He even set up an amateur radio station in his parents' home. He was well known around town at the different radio stations. People often saw him passing out flyers to kids and teenagers looking for wannabe superstars. And a lot of times he had cash in his pocket for kids who were interested in making a little pocket money, helping him hand out flyers. 14-year-old Luby Jeter was a kid like that. He did odd jobs at a grocery store and washed cars. He even started his own little business selling air fresheners. That's what he was doing when he vanished outside a mall at 2:30 in the afternoon on January 3rd, 1981. A month later, they found his strangled body all but naked laying in a wooded area. His jeans and belt turned up in a creek less than a mile away, shoved in a brown bag. His shirt and shoes were about 300 yards beyond that. In the meantime, a friend of his, 15-year-old Terry Pugh, had also gone missing. And he was already found, but the how of it all was very different. 13 days before Terry was last seen shooting hoops in a park, an anonymous caller told police to check out an isolated spot off a country road. There was a boy's body there, he said, but they didn't see anything. So the guy called again and told them to check one more time. He claimed he added a body since they first talked. It was Terry. In early February, 12-year-old Patrick Baltazar was last seen at Fisherman's Cove, where he worked part-time at Fisherman's Cove restaurant. His dad worked there too, which is why Patrick happened to be there that day, doing what all kids do, hitting up a dad for money. He wanted tickets to a boxing match that night, or maybe he'd blow it at an arcade. One person says they saw him there late that night, but he ended up near an isolated parking lot, strangled to death. But his body turned up some valuable clues. Fibers that matched those found on at least 5 other victims. Whoever this monster was, he had an insatiable appetite for death. Days after Patrick played his last arcade game, 15-year-old Curtis Walker was last seen looking for odd jobs to make some extra money late on a Thursday afternoon in February. Dogs tracked his smell to the back of an elementary school. Someone said they thought he got into a light-colored car. 4 days before Patrick's mostly naked, strangled body was found near a bridge, another 15-year-old went missing, Joseph Bell. He was playing basketball when a friend said he saw him leave in a car driven by a black man. About a month later, his body was found the same way Patrick's was, nothing on except his underwear, on a river's edge, strangled. But here's another strange clue. The day after he disappeared, the restaurant where he worked said he called there to say he was almost dead. Was this killer taking these kids and holding on to them for a while before he left their bodies behind?
Had cell phones
The FBI wasn't ruling anything out. A little over a week after Joseph went missing, 13-year-old Timmy Hill dropped out of sight. A few weeks later, he was found in the river in the same condition as Patrick and Joseph. And then it seemed the killer started to get bored with little kids. Maybe he wanted a challenge, because the next to go was 21-year-old Eddie Duncan. The last confirmed sighting was around 6 p.m. on March 20th, 1981, just 9 days after Timmy Hill disappeared. Eddie was dropping off a neighbor's clothes at a dry cleaner's. He was found in the same area of the river as Timmy just 1 day after the 13-year-old was found. And then another man went missing, only to turn up murdered. 20-year-old Larry Rogers. Bizarrely, like so many of the other victims, the killer dressed him in someone else's clothes. This time, it was blue shorts over a white swimsuit and a blue shirt. And the dog hairs were there too. Larry wasn't what you would call a kid since he was 20, but he was small for his age, only 5'6" and 110 pounds. That was a pattern with these older victims. They weren't exactly children, but they had the same body types as young teenagers. The next victim, Michael McIntosh, was 23, but only 115 pounds. The entire city and even the Justice Department was in on the chase now. Strangers joined up with members of the community to patrol the back alleys and abandoned lots, hoping to catch the killer. But none of them managed to grab him. 2 days after Michael was found strangled, naked, and left near the river, 21-year-old Jimmy Payne disappeared while looking for work. 5 days after that, he was found like so many others, naked but for his underwear, floating in the river. A month later, 17-year-old William Barrett was spotted lying on a curb by the side of an isolated street. He'd been strangled and robbed of his jean jacket, but the same dog hair was left on his clothes. As the FBI kept looking for patterns, they focused on the Chattahoochee River, where so many of the bodies ended up. It stood to reason if they stuck close to that area, they might catch their killer in the act. Then, one night in May 1981, they reeled in a fish. A big one, they hoped. Wayne Williams was driving across the Chattahoochee River when he saw the telltale red and blue lights flashing behind him. Pulling the car to the side of the road, he waited for a policeman to approach. It's hard to tell what was going through his mind at the moment, but he probably didn't expect to be put in handcuffs and hauled down to the station. Or maybe that's exactly what he was afraid would happen. You see, as the feds were staking out that area of the Chattahoochee, they heard a loud splash, and lo and behold, a few seconds later, Wayne Williams drives off the bridge. He explained that he was a big music guy on his way to audition a singer out of town. He told them he dropped a bag of trash off the bridge, but his alibi didn't check out. The address and number of the lady he was supposed to be meeting didn't exist. And the gloves and nylon rope they found in his car definitely didn't make him look more innocent. And the splash they heard, they believed it was the sound of Wayne's most recent victim going over the side of the bridge, 27-year-old Nathaniel Cater. 2 days later, he was found dead and naked in the river, not far away from the place Jimmy Payne's body was found. Cause of death for both? Asphyxiation. Was it just a coincidence that Wayne was behind the wheel of the first car to come across the bridge after the telltale splash? They figured he must have pulled over in the middle, thrown Nathaniel off the bridge, and motored on the other side where they nabbed him. With him in custody, they hooked him.
Okay, people. You see, Wayne Williams is not in the best of shape, right? How much did you say that this young man weighed? 100 and what?
25 pounds.
Okay, so if Wayne Williams is not in that good a shape and was kind of a pudgy dude, how in the entire fuck if he's going to go out there, lift that body up, carry it to the side of where the bridge is and throw it over? You see, people, this shit ain't adding up.
Right.
It's not adding up.
Yeah. All right, let me finish it up, Shabaki.
Mm-hmm.
Up to a lie detector and started firing questions at him. According to the machine, his reputation as a liar was well deserved. He failed the polygraph. And then hairs and fibers were taken from Nathaniel's body. They matched fibers taken from Wayne's home, his car, and you guessed it, his dog, a German Shepherd named Sheba. When police questioned the people Wayne worked with, they got even more incriminating evidence against him. People remembered scratches on his face and arms right around the times of the murders. It was all circumstantial at that point, but it sure didn't look good for Wayne. As far as the cops were concerned, they finally had their guy. Everything was lining up and making sense, at least to them. As far as Wayne was concerned, it was all BS. He professed his innocence to anyone who would listen, even going as far as having a press conference in front of his parents' home the day after he was questioned. He made sure the press got copies of his resume while he was at it. Meanwhile, as he was trying to get the public on his side, the police were busy tying him to the murders of Nathaniel Cater and Jimmy Payne. On June 21st, 1981, Wayne Williams was arrested. The trial began in January 1982 and lasted 2 months.
Shit don't
Case
add up.
against him relied on fibers from his home, car, clothes, and dog. The prosecution also had witnesses that put Wayne with some of the victims. They said he was a pedophile who liked little boys, and the burned remains of photographs in the Williams family barbecue led police to believe that maybe the amateur photographer was trying to get rid of pictures he took of his victims. But through it all, Wayne insisted he was innocent. He demanded to get on the stand and defend himself, tell the jury his side of things. But in the end, taking the stand didn't have the effect he wanted it to. He was making his case calmly and carefully at first, but when the prosecution started pressing his buttons, he lost his temper. And as far as the jury was concerned, they just witnessed a killer flying into a rage. After 11 hours of deliberation, they came back with a verdict on February 27th, 1982. Guilty, sentenced to 2 lifetimes in prison. But hold on. He was charged and found guilty of murdering 2 men, Jimmy and Nathaniel, 21 and 28 years old. So how did police link him to the murders of all those little kids? They say the same fibers and dog hairs matching Sheba, the German Shepherd, were found on at least 11 victims. Of course, that's also been a hot topic of debate over the years. The hair was a match, but that didn't mean Sheba was the only dog they could have come from. It looked suspicious, but it wasn't conclusive enough to charge and convict him for those children's deaths. But They managed to attribute 22 of the child murders to Wayne based on what they had. They called them pattern killings, but he's never been officially charged for any of them. No one has. However, it's worth pointing out that the killing stopped after he was behind bars. Or maybe the killer just moved on. Some parents of these children don't believe Wayne is the guy. They're still seeking justice for the young lives that were stolen from them. On the other hand, at least one man, Derwin Davis, told the Atlanta Journal he's positive they got the right man, even if he wasn't technically convicted for the child murders. And Derwin should know. He was almost a victim himself. In 1979, he was 14 and found himself in a car with a man he swears was Wayne. He reached down to grab him, and Derwin hit him in the face and ran for it. Years later, when he saw Wayne on TV, he knew he was looking at his attacker. And he's not alone. Others told their story too. Same kind of thing. A black guy with glasses offering them a ride to school or home or where have you. Then the creepy questions start. Then a grab for their private parts. Those guys managed to escape. Maybe dozens of others didn't. The is he or isn't he debate over Wayne's guilt or innocence has lasted all these years. Some people believe that justice was served, while others, like DeKalb County Police Chief Louis Graham, believe the wrong man is in prison. In 2005, he reopened the murder case linked to his county to try and prove Wayne's innocence when it came to the children. But the investigation was dropped after he resigned. The new chief let it lie. Without new evidence or any new leads, they had no place to go with it. There was nothing more they could do. And there's a third group of people that believe Wayne killed most of the victims, but not the two girls. The only two outliers in a group of at least 28 missing and murdered. But if you're one of the people who still wonder if Wayne was responsible for any of the killings, you should know that he wasn't the only good suspect in this case. In 2005, it came to light that Charles T. Sanders had been investigated in connection with the murders. Charles T. Sanders was a white supremacist that had ties to the KKK and had been recorded praising the murders. He didn't take responsibility for the murders, but he was in favor of them. Police investigated the claims, but found no evidence linking him to the murders. And once he and his brothers passed a lie detector test, the case against them was dropped. Unfortunately, you can't just throw someone in prison just for being a complete a-hole. Wayne Williams hasn't just been sitting in prison coping with his fate. He has maintained his innocence and has never stopped trying to get an appeal. And as of 2022, he has a new lawyer, and he'll be back up for parole in 2027. His lawyer thinks he's got a good case, but that's what she's paid for, of course. So what about you? Do you think he's the Atlanta child murderer, or did the real killer go free, happy to let Wayne?
The real killer went free.
The real killer. That's what it was.
That this shit here is during the beginning of the Reagan administration.
Yeah, we're gonna get to who they said did it though. I'm about to see him on the screen. Lady Che. Lady Che. I see in our own little world. All right, Shabaka, what are your thoughts on that? You said the real killer got away. What else?
Yes, sir. The real killer got away. Wayne Williams maintained his innocence. Okay. I believe that he was a fall guy and that these children and young people were taken, as Cow Dog said, medical research, medical apartheid. Because what do you have in Atlanta, Georgia, people? What's the name of that organization? The who?
So are you saying that the
Center for
Wait, it's the name of the what now? Center for Disease Control. I'll just be a son bitch.
Oh, that's just crackers talking. I don't want to hear a bunch of crackers.
Right.
You just had.
From 1979 to 1981, Atlanta, Georgia was terrorized by an unseen menace. African-American children were disappearing and being found murdered. In 1982, after the arrest and conviction of Wayne Williams, the majority of the cases of the murdered children were closed. But what most people don't realize is that Wayne Williams was only convicted for the murder of 2 adult men, never for any of the children. 40 years later, people still wonder, did Wayne Williams do it?
I know for a fact
he did not kill my daughter.
There are many who believe that the perpetrators of these crimes still walk free. Some believe it was a ring of sexual predators. Others believe it was the KKK. And then there are even more remarkable theories.
Why take my children's organs?
Texas what?
In an exclusive interview with
whoa.
for Wayne
Take what, people? Brains, liver, lungs?
We examined 6 of the theories that circulate around the Atlanta child murders. In 1979, Atlanta was enjoying a renaissance.
This is just over 10 years after the murder of Dr. King. Atlanta and a lot of other cities throughout the country, but especially throughout the South, were just figuring out their race relations. It was a time that felt very progressive.
When Black children began to show up dead, that progress seemed to halt.
It put the city on the brink of a real racial catastrophe.
When Wayne Williams was arrested, beleaguered Atlantans let out a sigh of relief. Although Williams was not charged with the murders of the 23 children, the conventional wisdom was he was responsible.
I think that at that time, Atlanta needed this to go away.
But many in the community were not happy with this easy answer.
It was challenging for the community to accept it because you did not
Thank
have
you, Val. That was the young man's name that they found rolled up on the basketball court, little Kendrick Johnson.
I don't believe that Wayne Williams killed all the children. I know for a fact he did not kill my daughter.
You walk around Atlanta even today, you find somebody that's 40 years or older, they got an opinion. Part of the reason is because there are so many conspiracy theories that float around.
I think a lot of the things that people think are conspiracy theories, they're really realities.
Dwayne Hendricks met Wayne Williams in 2013 while trying to do a documentary on Williams.
The guy who I grew up with was in the same prison with Wayne. He goes, I'm locked up with Wayne Williams. And he's been looking for someone to do his documentary. He said, is that something you'd be interested in? And I was like, hell yeah.
Since then, Dwayne has become Wayne's liaison to the outside world. Dwayne is convinced of Wayne's innocence.
There were multiple murderers. It wasn't one person. It wasn't one group. It wasn't one conspiracy that was attached to all of this.
So which conspiracy theories are circulating?
If you grew up in the South, you knew about the KKK. Word was you never know who's in the Ku Klux Klan. If you're not careful, they'll come and get you at night. A lot of the Klan activity had been pushed to the fringes, which a lot of people felt made them more dangerous. Now, you know, in theory, I'm going to school with their kids. I don't mean a threat like these are people that don't like you, that may be mean to you. I mean a threat that these are people that will kill you.
In the Black community, we're thinking that the Klansmen had a lot to do with it. We couldn't think of anything but the Klansmen.
In particular, a man named Charles Sanders is thought to have been responsible for the death of Lubie Jeter.
The name that people know is Charles Sanders.
Charles Sanders, who was associated with a white hate group, maybe even the Klan.
Allegedly, Sanders was angry because Jeter had scratched Sanders' truck. A 1986 Spin magazine article quoted a police informant who said he was with Sanders when Sanders saw Jeter and remarked, "See that black bastard? I'm going to get him. I'm going to choke the black bastard to death."
It is alleged that Sanders had threatened to kill
And this motherfucker
Jeter. Jeter was subsequently found dead.
And this motherfucker wasn't arrested.
Not only did he say that they killed Lubie Jeter, that they killed more children and that they were going to start killing little girls as well.
So what happened? Why wasn't Sanders prosecuted? Authorities said they had no evidence connecting Sanders or the KKK to any of them.
How convenient.
Dwayne Hendricks believes the authorities suppressed the evidence to protect Sanders.
You had guys that were police officers that were KKK. You had people that were firemen that were KKK. You have certain orders from your KKK superiors. You don't share vital investigative work that I may need to solve this murder.
While the allegations against the KKK never led to any convictions, another sinister group was also under suspicion.
there was some belief that there was some sort of sexual aspect to these murders, some sort of pedophilia.
Okay, Val.
That's not a theory.
Southern Poverty
That's a
Center
reality.
payroll.
For years, it has been believed that Uncle Tom Terrell, a known sex offender who lived in the area where most of the murders were committed, was responsible for some of the deaths.
Tom Terrell was one of these folks that supposedly ran in a lot of groups that were involving kids in trafficking.
They called his home Uncle Tom's Cabin. He's on news footage openly admitting that the little boys were at his house. The little boys that disappeared and were found murdered. He's openly admitting this.
And then there's the case of Clifford Jones. Some believe that he died at the hands of another sex offender, Jamie Brooks. Clifford Jones's brother, Emmanuel Williams, backs up the theory that Jamie Brooks was responsible.
These people had kidnapped my brother, a man named Jamie Brooks. These guys held my brother captive in a laundromat, and they raped him and beat him all day long. One of the people stood in the doorway watching my brother get raped, crying, screaming, saying he wanted to go home and saying that he was going to tell his grandmother, and said that the dude, Jamie Brooks, put a rope around his neck and pulled on the rope. Clifford was 12 years old. It breaks my heart. I feel like the police, they didn't really care. They waited 2 years to get Jamie Brooks.
Brooks was never officially tied to the murder of Clifford Jones. Jones is among the children connected to Wayne Williams. Unlike Williams, however, Brooks was...
We're getting hate mail from the last stream we did. Oh, punk ass.
Oh, yeah, what's
bloody.
the hate? What them punk ass motherfuckers talking about?
They said good riddance and Nabisco, haha. If we're a snack, then your mom's an Oreo.
See, okay, Brother Che, let's connect some dots here. Why do you think I came up with the idea to do this episode right here, right after that? What happened right down there in Texas? Why do you think I came up with the idea to do this episode right after that bullshit happened down there in Texas today?
Yeah, but you came up with that idea before the bullshit.
Yeah, I know. Now, I don't know if that was fate, gifted insight, or basically I have to say a big fucking lucky guess, which I honestly believed it was. You see what I'm saying? A combination of all the above.
Nabisco, huh?
Yeah.
He said goodbye to bad rubbish. Nabisco,
Goodbye
huh?
to bad rubbish.
If we are snack products, your mom's an Oreo.
Right. Yeah. See, you see this here, people. You see this here, and then you got this dumpster ass motherfucker man up here furthering this shit further and further. You see what I'm saying? This is why, that's part of the reason why we brought this episode right here tonight. You see?
Yeah.
See? And then, of course, we know the numbers are going to be low because this episode is going to be suppressed. I already accept that. I just want it out there. You see? You see what I'm saying? But we supposed to sit up here. Well, that was so long ago, and Massa sure been good to us.
A witch?
This is why I have the attitude that I do on shit. Shit like this. And not horrible shit like this. Huh?
Yeah, Mel Guzzling Becky. That's his mom.
Mongoloid?
Yep, a mongoloid. No,
Mm-hmm. What's the bottle?
a cockazoid.
They're Baba Oreos. Bad witch?
See? And speaking of the bed winches, look what happened to old girl up there in Milwaukee off the shore of Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
He was on the payroll of the Southern Poverty Law Center. And why is it so high? Yeah.
Yeah, and MD20 is saying 35 years ridiculous. You see what I'm saying?
MD, we need you
You
to
see?
come up. I'll drop the link for
Yeah,
you.
come on up, MD. Yeah, come on up, MD.
That's like so much motherfucking
Yeah,
crime.
you see?
But try not
And
to
then
bring
they
it.
only convicted this.
Try not to bring your trolls with you. Because he had to
Yeah, if
troll.
some do show up, they're going. Yeah, if he do come up and trolls come up, man, the trolls gonna get the business. Okay, you say.
Well, they come up last time. We was on for like
Yeah.
3 hours. None of them.
Yeah, you see.
We got
See,
in the
so
building. Kahari, we're at
okay, we got
6:30.
Kahari.
Yeah, we're at 6:31. This is Kahari.
Okay, our voice is global. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Okay, we're going back down here on memory lane with me being an old bastard. You know what I'm saying? And the
Back to
reason,
81.
yeah, 1981. I was 20-something years of age. I think I was 20-something. I do know, man, that there was some old senile motherfucker, man, with special effects from crazy glue and Grecian formula called Ronald Reagan, who was the president.
Yeah, we got MD in the building, Shabaka.
Hey, MD, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Don't send your trolls again, MD.
Yeah, nah, I don't know nothing about no trolls. I ain't sending them.
Shit, they came from your page. We cannot block them. They came from your page.
Oh well, I don't know how that happened, but I ain't simulcasting.
Oh, okay.
Now, yeah, I'm on the road. I don't know where they come from. I don't know them people.
Oh yeah, yeah. You see, and then the cold part about it is here, black family. See, they just want us, just like on the plantation system, where they beat the shit out of us with chains and shit like that. And what did you say, Brother Che? That it was a form of mental illness for a slave wanting to be free. And Atlanta, Georgia, ladies and gentlemen, which was one of the biggest goddamn slave trading places going.
It was the capital of the Confederacy at one time.
Okay, right. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
See, and it's very, very important that the generations after me understand this, man, because, you know, this is what the fuck is going on with the Ebola shit.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
See? You see this? See, people.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
What do you know about the Atlanta child murder since you're down there in ATL, Georgia?
I mean, all I know about it is, you know, the stories that I heard, you know, like from ancestors and elders or whatnot. Like I said again, my mom, she grew up around that. Yeah, she grew up around that area, that part of Atlanta.
Okay.
Shortly after, they moved east toward Decatur, where I'm from, when everything was going down. Yeah, I mean, you know, according to them, man, the city was on edge. Like a lot of people, a lot of the family, whatever, you know, they was on edge because, you know, my aunties and uncles and all them was around that age, that preteen age. So
yeah,
a lot of people was on edge, man. From the stories that I've heard, as far as you know, Williams and whatnot.
Right.
I never really heard anybody like proclaim his innocence. I ain't really never heard that, but I have heard the stories of it was more than one. I'm not gonna say the brother.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say he was innocent or guilty. I mean, I don't know. It was long. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He possibly could have some involvement in it. Do I believe all involvement? No, I don't. I don't believe so. You got to understand. The KKK around that time, they was working undercover, so to speak. So they could, you know, this just coming from me. I believe that some of those murders was possibly done by some white supremacist organization under the cover of Walter Williams. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that
yes, sir.
He may have done like one or two. I'm not gonna say that he didn't, but I'm saying they did what they did under the cover of what was going on at that point in time, and some of the other cases as well. again, it could have been some, like they said in the video, like just some weirdos in the community or whatnot. That was on that a PDF file tip.
Yeah.
And you know, they was, you know, it was basically, it was a lot of copycats. I just put it that way.
Okay.
So that's just what I believe.
Okay.
I don't believe he was that sophisticated to have a system in place to do all them heinous acts. I don't believe he had that like that.
Hey, welcome back.
Me.
Kahari, what are your thoughts on the Atlanta child murders? Did you hear anything about this growing up in the South?
Oh no, I ain't here. I'm new to this, man.
Okay.
Yeah, but sure, I've been working. I'm trying to make some money, man. But I'm here though. But that stuff is crazy though.
Right.
About the Anthony thing, bro. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
How y'all been doing? How the Asian boycott been going on, man? How's that been going on? That been going good for y'all? Y'all been buying?
Yeah, we going up. We on the come up.
I ain't went back to WNB since.
Oh, you haven't?
Because over here where I stay at, is an Asian owner. He owned that store. I ain't go back since.
Yeah, the hell.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Boy. Yeah. Fuck him. Boycott his ass.
Right.
You see. So what I'm
get back
saying
to the point,
here,
though. Get back to the point.
Yeah. The point is this here. What?
This happened before I was born, and MD was born, and Lady Che was born.
That's why I produced that episode, Brother Che, for that, because see, I was younger than you guys when this shit was going on. But like I said, being an elder, I got a duty, man, to present to you of the shit that I've lived through. So when y'all see this stuff coming after my demise, oh yeah, we're gonna defend ourselves. You see what I'm saying? See, and that's one thing they don't. And keep in mind, people, this is the pre-crack epidemic.
Yeah, this is right before crack hit the streets.
Exactly. You see, exactly. You know, and I'm trying to remember. Oh, the president before Reagan was Carter. Okay, and Carter was from Georgia. Now, why in the fuck didn't Carter come out and speak about this?
Oh, Jimmy Carter? Oh, the
he's from from Plains, Georgia.
He was president when this was going on.
Toward the end of his term, then he lost the election to Reagan. Then he went back to Georgia, okay, because he used to be the governor of Georgia. You see what I'm saying? Just like that sick motherfucker down there by the name of Lester Maddox, who gave Ali his boxing license when Ali beat the shit out of Jerry Quarry in 1970 in Atlanta. You see? Now, the thing is, people.
You know about that Bugsby? What did you hear about Bugsby, the governor at the time, MD?
The governor at the time when this was going on?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know too much about him. I know this was right. This was right after. So you got to understand what was happening in Atlanta at that point in time. This is when Atlanta started to gain national recognition. And y'all might lose me because I'm going through the cracker forest down in Florida, so y'all might lose me.
Okay.
If I cut out, just,
yeah.
If I cut out, man, just continue on without.
Okay, got you, MD.
Okay, you got power tools with you down there in Florida, don't you?
Yeah, I'm in North Florida right here, man, in the Panhandle. I'm deep in the forest, so.
Okay, got you.
Okay, yeah, I've been through the Panhandle of Florida, which is right below Georgia.
Yeah, I'm right here. So what was happening? Remember, this was right after like the Renaissance of Atlanta. You had the continuation of the airport, and Atlanta was getting national recognition at this point in time. Remember, they called it the city too busy to hate. It was a lot of political movement going on in Georgia at this particular time.
Okay.
This is my theory. They didn't want to put a spotlight on Atlanta when it came to any type of racial motive because we were trying to shy away from that for good or bad.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm indifferent to it in that sense.
Okay.
It was a lot of turmoil when it came to the racial aspect of these crimes. You know what I'm saying? With speculation. When at the same time Atlanta was becoming a financial hub for the South.
And the black
community. You know what I mean?
Because because I remember in the late 70s and Ebony magazine and the Jet magazine, man, was talking about the great black business opportunities in the ATL. You see what I mean?
So what I believe is they wanted to cover this up in the national media as much as they can to try to shy away from the negative aspect of it, based on the fact that Atlanta was a sprawling, growing economy at that point in time, becoming what it is now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, for black business and what have you. But then when I went to Atlanta a few years ago, man, I saw a whole bunch of homelessness out there, brother. And people on that
bad.
shit.
It's real bad.
Just like Los Angeles, just like Oakland, just like, in the black community here in Las Vegas, you see them out there. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
See, so what it is, people, is that they are systemically against us, you see, and they don't want us having no connection with our past, you see. And then on top of that is they want to demoralize us. Okay, all you black men down there and some motherfuckers going around there killing all our children, but you ain't doing nothing. But there was some brothers who got up there, man, who was escorting their kids to school. You see what I'm saying? And they was locked and loaded like a motherfucker. You see? Yeah, you see what I mean? Going to pick the little ones up from school. Seeing a couple of them down there, man, wishing they would find this motherfucker behind this shit. You see what I mean?
But I gotta get back to the documentary.
Right. Maynard Jackson, the first black mayor of Atlanta, he did so. His whole goal was to create from an optic point of view, this grand place where black business ownership, black middle class was, he wanted to make that the highlight of the city.
Okay.
The Atlanta child murders was the black eye of everything that Maynard Jackson was doing. I'm not saying it was Maynard Jackson's fault. I'm not putting no blame on Maynard Jackson. What I'm saying was the city as a collective, they cared more about the optics of what Atlanta was doing economically than what was going on with the Atlanta child murder. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Remember, the modern Maynard Jackson was Atlanta was the city too busy to hate. Meaning, go ahead.
I gotta finish.
And then to find out too. Okay, I just got two more sentences to say on this here, Brother Che, and we're gonna get back to it. Then what happened in 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia?
The bombings at the Olympics.
Okay, there you go. Now that's what I was saying. The Olympics. Unfortunately, they had the bombing. Any goddamn city, man, that gets the Olympics, and LA is getting ready to get it for a second time, man, you got tons and tons and tons and tons of worldwide investment going there. So what's going
right now? And they got the World Cup about to start right now.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, man, that's going to be because it ain't the World Cup going through about 30 cities.
Yeah.
Okay. Say a fucking money grab. Do you see what I'm saying? A fucking money grab. And these motherfuckers talking about they ain't got no goddamn reparations for us, man.
Yep.
That's the point that I'm making with this production tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But,
all right, let me finish up the clip.
Let us continue because I know our people's is
of a
getting tired
child-related
of the
offense.
Jamie Brooks ended up going to prison for another child sex crime and died in prison of AIDS.
Not everyone accepts the pedophile theory.
Well, if you wanted a scapegoat, these would be the people.
When the evidence came out about the examining of the bodies, they didn't find evidence that there was any kind of sexual activity.
Case is governed by evidence. As prosecutors, we learned about to accuse somebody of killing because they've committed some other crime or because they're not a good person.
While the children bore no signs of sexual assault, some of the bodies found were missing organs. This has led some of the victims' families to allege that someone was killing the children to harvest their organs.
Different parts of their children's organs was removed. You're talking about the kidneys, the liver, the penis. Why take my children's organs? It's very important that the world know that it was like robbing organs here in Atlanta.
This theory was popularized by Dick Gregory, a comedian and activist who had become obsessed with the Atlanta child murders.
The late comedian Dick Gregory alluded to some conspiracy with the CDC appropriating these kids' bodies for their DNA.
The Center for Disease Control, which is headquartered in Atlanta, and had some kind of survey going on. Some people thought this was some kind of plot by the Center of Disease Control to kill these young boys.
According to this theory, the perpetrators harvested the sexual organs of the young men.
One of the mothers that I've
Sexual
interviewed,
organs.
she sat in front of me and cried, tears. I saw hypodermic needle
Sexual
marks
organs.
in the genital areas of these children.
I know all about the experiment. You tell me why a hypodermic needle marks on both sides of the boys' penises. Dick Gregory and I met with a scientist. A lot of things was explained to us. Showed me how one thing taken from a child at a certain age before puberty could wipe out cancer.
This thing is a protein called interferon. Interferon is now used to fight cancer.
And now, in 2019, if you go Google interferon, you're going to find out that it's used in cancer medication.
Somebody has to account for why those marks were there.
The CDC isn't the only government agency that has been implicated in the Atlanta child murders. Wayne even goes so far as to suggest that the CIA was involved. He builds this claim on top of another claim that he, as a young man, was recruited by the CIA for secret missions.
He was recruited into the CIA Junior Officers Program, and he went on 2 missions. He saw 2 villages in Africa wiped out. Women, children, all dead. He still to this day doesn't know if that was experimentation with a chemical biological weapon or experimentation with the HIV virus. That's when he came back and he said, I don't want no parts of this.
Wayne claims that the CIA was upset with his leaving the exclusive program. As retribution, they were involved in publicly pinning the Atlanta child murders on him.
People told him that he would regret it.
Other than Wayne's story, there is no evidence to support this theory.
You know, it's flight of fancy kind of commentary. There's just enough history of people being framed, especially black suspects.
Yeah, Val, that's why I produced this episode tonight. Sick motherfuckers.
The more you listen, the more you think, well, maybe not.
And people on this damn internet think I'm crazy in a goddamn race.
KKK, child predators, or the CIA. Could it have been a serial killer? Prolific killer Edward Edwards was caught in Atlanta just after Wayne was arrested, and the child murders had peaked. A master of deception, Edwards was alleged to have connections to Georgia law enforcement.
He was a GBI informant. He was known to take hair fibers, DNA samples. He was known to even have sex with men to be able to get DNA, to be able to pin crimes on other people. And he operated for over 50 years.
While it's true that Edwards was in Atlanta during the time of the murders, and that Edwards was the conman who cozied up to Georgia law enforcement, there is no evidence to tie Edwards to any of the Atlanta child murders.
How convenient.
Finally, There is a theory that a killer is being kept safe by his family's money. Venus Taylor claims that a member of law enforcement confided in her about the real killer of her daughter, Angel Lanier.
The person that killed your daughter told me that he killed her. I say, and you're not gonna arrest him? He said, we really can't. I said, why you can't? Because he's mentally ill. I said, just because he's mentally ill, you're not gonna arrest him? He said, well, he says it's a little more political than that. I say, what you mean? He's from one of the richest families in this city. Money talks. He said it'll never go to court. It is 30-some years later, and that hurts. That hurts real bad, knowing that, money is power and it keeps you out of jail.
With all of these theories muddying the water, is it possible that the truth will ever emerge?
The question does come up frequently, did Wayne Williams act alone? The only person against whom there is enough evidence to convict of these offenses is Wayne Williams. In some cases, I think, there was someone with Wayne. We may never have enough evidence to show who it was.
The murders remain a stain on Atlanta and America. The victims' families continue to seek answers.
Does anybody remember two victims? And the answer is not very much. They remember Wayne Williams, but they don't remember these kids.
The near invisibility of these young victims has an echo in today's marginalized communities.
The story might be 40 years old, but in some ways, it's more relevant than ever before. These were Americans that were murdered, and American families that were affected. There's a hole in our heart of the country because of this travesty. So
see,
you need to
shit
care
like
about
this here is what
injustice
got our
for
guards
Black
low.
and brown children is still happening at a high rate. 40 years later, some things have not changed. And if we're not careful and if we're cavalier about it, it could happen again.
Woo. Well, anyway.
And it did happen
anything
again.
else you
Remember
wanna
the case
discuss?
of the young brother that got rolled up in the gym mat and had his organs
exactly.
took
Little
out.
Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, wasn't his name Kendrick Lamar, Brother Che? He was only 15 years old.
Johnson.
They replaced his organs.
Yeah, Kendrick Johnson. Okay. And then what's the price of the melanin on the stock market again?
$675 a gram.
Took his organs out. And
Dan, 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 dan.
the parents didn't even know.
Dan, 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 dan. They killing us, people. Don't you see it? These motherfuckers ain't never stopped. And as you said, Brother Che, the slave who wanted to be free was deemed mentally insane.
Yep,
And look
Drapetomania.
at this goddamn insanity right here. And the fucked up part about this is insanity, man. They've been doing this bullshit to us, man, for 400 years.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I got one more Shabak and then we gotta go because we got Frontline
All right.
Black News after this.
All right, then I'm
Man,
gonna go get my
y'all got back-to-back shows tonight.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're doing it, man. We got to get the numbers up so we can get some money generated, my man. You know what I'm saying? So we could do better quality shows and get better quality equipment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with
You
that.
know? Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
and
one more thing. I'm gonna say one more thing
Yes,
for
sir.
y'all start. You
Yes,
brought up
sir.
an excellent point, Shabaka, talking about
Yes, sir.
the '96 Olympics.
Yeah.
The night to me, the night, and like I said, I'm born and raised in the city. To me, the '96 Olympics was the downfall of what I know as Atlanta, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Really? Okay.
The '96 Olympics. Remember, we had the mayor by the name of Bill Campbell, was the mayor at the time. He sold the city out, hook, line, and sinker for the '96 Olympics. Remember, he was
I believe
arrested
it.
on corruption charges. He sold the
Okay.
city out, hook, line, and sinker for the '96 Olympics. He put the '96 Olympics was the start of gentrification in Atlanta. Point blank, period. It was the start of it.
Okay. Okay.
And now you see, and like I said, y'all, I'm talking about people that know the city or whatever. Everybody see
Yes,
the
sir.
gentrification that's going on right now. It all started in 1996. It all
I saw
started.
the same shit in '84 in Los Angeles. I suggested left LA a few months ago and see the same shit happening right now, man, for 2028.
I seen the same shit in Denver, Colorado in 2008 when we had the Democratic National Convention.
Right. See, Olympia, it's Democratic or political conventions, big business, high tech, and what have you. That shit there brings money into that region, that city, man, just like a damn magnet does sand.
Yeah.
Take a magnet and lay it in some sand and watch how much of that sand is going to be on that magnet.
Yeah.
Because the last goddamn time I was in Los Angeles, Brother Che, I'm going up and down Figueroa, man. They got the motherfucker totally rebuilt from the last time I was there. It was less than 2 years.
Wow.
What's happening in 2028 in Los Angeles? An exposition park on the corner of 39th and Figueroa, where I grew up at, Olympia. All the damn businesses that was in the neighborhood in 84, all them motherfuckers is gone. They tore them down. They tore down half the block. Guess what you got there, people? Warehouses. Warehouse.
Figueroa, that's the Hostroll, ain't it?
Yes, sir. When you get there, man, when you pass exposition, man, that's when you start seeing the hookers out there. And then you remember that case, man, where they had all those prostitutes coming up dead in the late 80s to find out, man, it was a LAPD officer who did a lot of those bodies they found in goddamn Exposition Park. That's what LA Coliseum is.
Yep. Damn.
Dun.
That's the whole straw empty.
Just like Broadway is. Slauson.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Particularly when you get down there, man, off in the 70s and 80s of Figueroa. 71st Street, 80s, where our man Sam Cooke got killed at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the track, MD.
Yep, that's the whole straw on the track.
Yeah, Val, that's what I'm saying. Okay, now, Val, now you see why I'm so fucked up, getting senile and shit, living through shit like this. Okay, that's why I'm all so fucked up. Living through shit like this.
Right. Crazy. All right, I got one more for us, and then we got to wrap this thing up.
Yes, sir.
July 21st, 1979, a 14-year-old boy went missing. 4 days later, another teenage boy also disappeared. Both boys were found on July 28th. They had been murdered. Their bodies were left in a wooded area just 150 feet away from each other. Little did the police know that this would be the start of a series of murders that would haunt Atlanta for decades to come. From 1979 to 1981, within a period of 22 months, 29 black children and young adults were murdered in the streets of Atlanta. The police would arrest Wayne Williams in connection to 2 of the murders. He would later be convicted and sentenced to life in prison. But although the police believed him to be the Atlanta child killer, he was never convicted of any other.
Oh, shit.
Not convicted. Yeah. Wait a minute, people. So they only got him for what was it, 2 or 3 of the murders? Now,
yeah.
What about the other goddamn 23 unsolved murders?
Right.
Dun. That's precisely my point, Lady Che. This shit was genocide.
Yep. Excuse me. I lost the video.
How come black people that did a minimalist live?
On July 21st, 1979, a 14-year-old boy went missing. 4 days later, another teenage boy also disappeared. Both boys were other murders. Some people believe that Williams was merely a scapegoat, that someone else had committed the murders and
that's
the authorities had
on.
Covered it up. Others think that there are multiple murderers.
Yeah.
Was the case truly solved, or was justice denied for dozens of grieving parents? Join us as we explore the case of the Atlanta child murders to find out what most likely happened. Edward Hope Smith, 14, went missing on July 21, 1979. Though this event devastated his family, it didn't make waves in the community. 4 days later, Alfred Evans, 13, also went missing. The police found Alfred's body in a wooded area. He was shirtless and barefoot, and he had been strangled. While investigating the area, the officers discovered a strange odor. It was coming from the decomposing body of Edward Hope Smith. This time, the boy had been shot. Both murders were dismissed by the authorities as drug-related. No one thought that this was merely a prelude of something far more sinister. Only a few months later, on September 4th, another boy went missing. 14-year-old Milton Harvey. He went on an errand to the bank for his mother. He was riding a bike, which was found a week later in a remote area. But police didn't find his body until November. He had been strangled. On October 21st, Yusuf Bell, 9, was asked by a neighbor, Eula Birdsong, to buy Bruton snuff at Reese Grocery on McDaniel Street. According to a witness, Yusuf got into a blue car at the intersection of McDaniel and Fulton Street. His body was later found in a crawl space inside the abandoned E.P. Johnson Elementary School on November 4th, just 4 blocks from his house. He still had the clothes he was wearing when he went missing. Though he had been hit on the head twice, authorities found that his cause of death was strangulation. Despite the increasing number of children going missing and found dead, the authorities still did not link these cases as related, but the community was starting to fear the worst. On March 4, 1980, the first female victim was reported missing. Angel Lanier, 12, was found strangled, raped, and tied to a tree on March 10th, just a few blocks from the apartment she lived in with her mother. Just a day after the discovery of Angel's body, 10-year-old Jeffrey Mathis went missing after he went out to buy something for his mom at the store. According to her, she had already warned her child to avoid talking to strangers. The FBI found his remains 11 months later. By this point, the parents residing in the communities had become increasingly aware of the danger. Many imposed curfews on their children. Despite their precautions, many children continued to go missing. All of the victims were African American. The circumstances of their deaths varied. Some were strangled, others were beaten or stabbed. Some were even shot. Worse, there were a few victims whose cause of death were undetermined. Many African American communities in and around Atlanta felt frustrated by the lack of action from the Atlanta mayor, Maynard Jackson, and the police. So the parents decided to join forces and formed the Committee to Stop Children's Murders. Their purpose was to push the police to become accountable for the stalled investigations of the murdered children. Fortunately, their move worked. The police increased the size of the manpower used in the investigation, as well as the amount of the reward money for tips. More importantly, people from the communities became more active in safeguarding their children. However, it was inevitable that there would still be some children that would slip through the cracks. One of them was 13-year-old Clifford Jones, who was merely visiting the city from Cleveland. He disappeared on August 20th, 1980. He was later found strangled behind a dumpster located at the back of the former Hollywood Plaza shopping center. His murder garnered the attention of national media, pushing the Atlanta authorities into action. The FBI was officially requested to join the investigation. 5 of the top homicide detectives in the country were asked to consult, and there were 2 U.S. Justice Department officials present to provide support. With the help of an expert from the FBI Behavioral Sciences Unit, they profiled the murders. The children, all of whom had been of African American descent, had vanished in broad daylight in fairly public areas, but their bodies were found in desolate locations. However, they were all within a particular geographic perimeter. The suspect is likely to be someone black, allowing him to easily access the children of the community without arousing suspicion. All of these suggest that the perpetrator was a killer acting alone. As the police continued to investigate, they found that many of the bodies had the same yellow-green nylon fiber on them. The lack of other evidence pushed the detectives to focus on this fiber hunting down the manufacturer. Unfortunately, this lead and its significance were reported by the media, which may have caused the killer to suspect that he was going to be discovered. So the killer started to change his MO. Instead of desolate areas, he began to dump the bodies in the Chattahoochee River in order to wash away any evidence. Because of this, the task force started staking out several bridges at night, just waiting for the killer to take action again. On May 22, 1981, the detectives' actions paid off. One of the officers heard a splash beneath a bridge. Another one noticed a white 1970 Chevrolet station wagon turning around and driving back across the bridge. The vehicle was later stopped by 2 police cars around half a mile from the bridge. The driver was identified as 23-year-old Wayne Bertram Williams. According to Williams, he was a music promoter and freelance photographer, and he was on his way to audition a woman named Cheryl Johnson, who lived in the town of Smyrna. However, the police could not find any record of the woman or of the appointment. 2 days later, the body of Nathaniel Cater, 27, was found in the river, floating just a few miles away from where the police had seen the station wagon. Williams soon became the prime suspect. According to reports, the officers who had stopped Williams that night noticed a pair of gloves and a 24-inch nylon cord on his passenger seat. The cord looked similar to the ligature marks that the investigators found on Cater and other victims. Not only that, but it was also later discovered that Williams used to give out flyers inviting young people ages 11 to 21 to audition for his new singing group. That's not all. When the investigators finally traced the manufacturer of the fiber, they matched it with the type of carpet that was inside Williams's home. Aside from the carpet, fibers from a bedspread and yellow blanket from Williams's bedroom, as well as dog hairs from his family's mixed-breed German Shepherd, were found on the victims. There were also some testimonies from witnesses that claimed to have seen Williams with some of the dead children. Moreover, Williams had failed the FBI's polygraph test a number of times. Due to all of these, Wayne Williams was arrested on June 21st that year. However, he could only be directly linked to 2 of the murders, Nathaniel Cater and Jimmy Ray Payne, aged 22, both of whom were adults. The trial began on January 6, 1982. Williams was convicted of the murder of the 2 young men on February 27th. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. Coincidentally or not, the murders stopped as soon as Williams was arrested, and there has been nothing like them since. Though the case has been closed, not everyone is convinced that Wayne Williams is the perpetrator of the Atlanta child murders. For one, he was never tried for any of the child murders. Second, some of the victims' parents didn't believe that he was responsible. Third, there was a lack of physical evidence linking Williams to some of the victims. Some of the eyewitness accounts were conflicting. So if it wasn't Williams, who is the Atlanta child murders killer? Well, there are quite a few theories, the most prominent of which involves the Ku Klux Klan. According to conspiracy theorists, the KKK members plan to kill more than 24 black children in order to incite a race war. The theory was backed up by a report published in Spin magazine in 1985 that claimed the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, had covered up evidence that implicated a member of the KKK in the murders. According to the report, the GBI suppressed the evidence to prevent racial strife. Williams's defense team even claimed that he was made a scapegoat just so that the authorities could close this politically rife case. Another theory that was proposed involved a pedophile ring operating in Atlanta. According to this theory, Williams may have been part of this ring and was involved in some of the crimes or was used to cover for the activities of more powerful individuals. The most accepted theory is that Williams may not have been the sole perpetrator of all the murders. He may have been guilty of committing some of the crimes, but not all of them.
Exactly, Uptight. Yeah, exactly, Uptight.
So, which is it? Was Williams the real Atlanta child murders killer? Or was he a scapegoat that was used by authorities to downplay the severity of the situation, as well as protect the reputation of the law enforcement agency?
Sorry, Uptight. I accidentally had timed you out on the last stream by accident. That was my bad. But welcome back.
Yeah.
I like all three. Yes.
Yeah, see, people, and this is why living through this shit here as a young man, okay, it's why I have the attitudes that I have to this day.
Yeah, it's almost over. Save your decence for another 3 minutes.
All right. Okay.
And the city. In 2007, the state of Georgia allowed the dog hair found in some of the crime scenes to undergo DNA testing. The results showed that the hair contained the same mitochondrial DNA sequence as Williams' dog. In layman's terms, this sequence only occurs in 1 out of 100 dogs. While it is not conclusive, it does have a fairly significant impact on Williams' possible guilt. In the same year, the FBI also tested the DNA found on 2 human hairs that were discovered on one of the victims. According to the results, the mitochondrial DNA matched Williams. Experts state that this test eliminates 98% of African American individuals. The fact that it did match Williams' DNA means that he couldn't be eliminated as a suspect. More importantly, it highlights the likelihood that he was the murderer. In 2019, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms and Atlanta Police Chief Erica Shields announced that they would be testing the evidence gathered from the murders. However, no results have been released as of today. So what do we think most likely happened to all those children between the years of 1979 to 1981? Based on the evidence, we can conclude that some of the murders were likely to have been committed by Wayne Williams. He matched the profile. He scouted children within that age range for his supposed band. He was seen leaving the scene of the dump site just minutes after the officers heard a splash. He couldn't provide a solid alibi for many of the murders. More importantly, his hair and his dog's hair were both found in some of the crime scenes. Take note, we said some. This is because there's nothing that could definitively connect Williams to the other murders. Maybe he was more cautious at those times, or maybe he just got lucky. But most likely, he simply didn't do them. It's not unusual for copycat murders to occur during a serial killer's crime spree. It's also not unusual for some evil-minded individuals to take advantage of the current environment to cover up their own misdeeds. Maybe we'll know the truth once the DNA test results come out. For now, we can only pray for the families of the victims still waiting for justice. If you love our content and want to support the channel, feel free to check our web shop.
Like and subscribe to Frontline Black News.
Frontline Black News. And then, too, Brother Chad, we got to get some material up there like that, man, to generate, to generate our own brand.
Yeah, we're working on it, Shabaka. All that is in the works. What are your thoughts on that?
What are my thoughts on this right here? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I lived through this shit. This goes to show just how sinister and diabolical them motherfuckers was back then during the Reagan regime. And then you got this sick orange orangutan ass bastard man who's more dangerous than the motherfuckers was, and he's blatant with this shit.
Yeah.
You tell me, this motherfucker want to have UFC fighting up at the goddamn White House.
Yeah. And they got the nets. What about the nets?
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
MD, what's your closing statement? Because we got to wrap this thing up.
Nah, man, it's all good, man. I appreciate y'all covering this, man, and I appreciate the coverage for today.
And
we in trouble in time.
Far and wide.
No doubt.
Man, and share this motherfucker far and wide, man. Is because, like I said, man. Okay, I have reasons to believe. Well, Brother Chad, I'll tell you that in a private conversation. But anyway, so we appreciate everybody, man, on this episode, June 9th, 2026, revisiting the Atlanta child murder cases that happened in the late 70s and in the early 1980s. Okay, and Uptight says Lakeisha Lance Bottoms was trash. Okay, I believe it. Okay, and then where is all these black ass politicians? Okay, today, and where the fuck was those in, man, when this shit was going down, man? It was clearly evident that our people were being targeted.
This leadership, when all that was going on, they had a black chief, black mayor. It was biggity black.
Yeah, I told you earlier, man. They wanted to upkeep the optics of what Atlanta was becoming at the time, so they wanted to sweep it under the rug, man. They couldn't do it. I said, Maynard Jackson did wonders for the city, but the one blemish that he got on his record is this. The one blemish.
Okay. Now, just like when Uncle Tom Bradley was the mayor of Los Angeles, who got the 1984 Olympics to Los Angeles, they'd go up there talking to Bradley about the Mark Furmans, the Stacey Coombs, the crash officers. What the fuck? Bradley get up there and says, well, in West LA, the Jewish Defense League is doing great work, this, that, the other. Like, man, fuck you, man. That ain't even a damn question. But it's the motherfuckers there. What's LA's biggest commodity, people? Hooray for Hollywood.
Tinseltown. Yep.
See, exactly. And then they getting ready to have the Olympiad there again, and don't nobody spend. Don't you waste your goddamn money going out there to see that bullshit. Sit there and watch it on TV, because if you go to Los Angeles during the Olympiad, you're gonna get straight fleeced. Out here, Tom Coon Bradley, yes sir, up there. And out here, they building a damn metro rail from Las Vegas to downtown LA, the highest speed. These motherfuckers on a bullet train are going to downtown LA to go to the Olympiad. And when they drop the motherfucker off over there off of Exposition in Figueroa, man, you still got to walk 2 goddamn blocks, man, to the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have the LAPD out there, and then and keep in mind that the Olympics has their own Olympic security.
Yeah. And on that note, we're gonna wrap this thing up. So appreciate everybody that tapped in. Shout out to Uptight. Right. Shout out to Vap. Shout out to MD for joining us. Yeah.
And please share this episode far and wide.
Michael, Cowdog,
Goddess Navi was with us briefly.
A Goddess Navi. Yep. Shout out to a Goddess Navi. And I think that in the chat. I said Sister Val, said Cowdog, said Sister Goddess Navi.
Okay, and of course, Uptight 24, where he says, oh, not Tom Coon Bradley. Yeah, Uptight, that motherfucker.
And Matt.
Okay. Whose daughter was whose daughter, Phyllis, was the biggest dope fiend in Los Angeles.
And Daniel. Shout out to Daniel. And Kahari. Yeah, and Kahari came through.
And
all right, so we're in like 30 minutes, I guess, for Frontline Black News. Season 6, episode 29, part 3, continuation, part 1 of the Frontline Black News. So we'll see y'all then. In the meantime, make sure like and subscribe to all our platforms, Frontline Black News on YouTube and Facebook, The Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook, and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, which this is, and the air date of this program was June 9th, 2026. And I am Shane Krummer, just standing on the ballot for House District 8 here in the state of Colorado. And me and Lady Che are signing out from the Mile High Income and Illegal Migrant Flooded City. And Shabaka is signing out from the Sin City. Come on, 7-Eleven.
Yes. And we had a pleasant 90 degrees, you know what I'm saying? We had 90 degrees. Okay, I mean, we're going to be up to about 100, 110 tomorrow. So all the Nabiscos, come out here and fry. You know what I'm saying?
Fry for the next
Indeed. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I strongly insist that they do. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so this is Shabaka St. Corey, okay, for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on the air date of this episode right here, June 9th, 2026, which is season 11, episode 46 of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with the Frontline Black News. All right, folks. So from Las Vegas, Nevada, have a nice night. Please share this episode far and wide to the people in your generation, Brother Che. You need this information. You see what I'm saying? You need this information. That's the Nabisco mother.